This video is sponsored by Cake Wallet, the easiest open source wallet to store Bitcoin, Monero, and Litecoin securely on mobile and desktop devices. When buying, selling, and exchanging crypto or trading for gift cards, Cake Wallet ensures privacy and security, giving you the keys to your coins. Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the Daily Zest. I'm your host, Randi Hipper, here on a lovely, happy Wednesday. I hope you guys are feeling the love. Hope you guys are loving this Wednesday. Oh, yeah. Let's get it going. Guys, if you guys are here, make sure you smash these likes, subscribe, share this stream out with friends so more people know what's going on with Bitcoin, the banks. Gary Gensler is about to go live. JP Morgan banned crypto in the UK. What kind of sheesh is going on? We'll break it all down for you guys. And let's make sure we hit our goal of 125 likes. 100 live viewers. Because I know we smashed that yesterday. Smashed it. Isn't that right? If you guys haven't already, please check out our lovely sponsors, Cake Wallet and Cipher. Links are in the live chat and in the description. Make sure you use code missteencrypto or code ZESTY for 20% off at checkout using that link. It's the best link you'll ever use. Now, let's make sure we say hello to everybody because we have so many beautiful people in the chat today. I saw Crypto Crag talking about Dunkin' Donuts and not to call him a whale. Crypto Crag, I saw that comment right before I went live and I just started laughing. Like, you know, I'm just sitting here laughing at my computer. It's hilarious. You guys really do make me happy. Little Jerry, hello, nice to see you. Brian said, hello, how are you doing? I'm good, thanks for asking. How are you, my friend over there on TikTok? Guys, on TikTok, we have a goal of 10,000 followers. Let's get that going. Hey, all right, we have John Legend, we have Emma, Mr. Yeehaw, Mr. Miner, Mr. Current Miner, that's not a fake miner, that I am rebelling against. We have S-Dog in the chat. We have Jay Allen, nice to see you. We have Smiley in the chat. I like Smiley. I'm a woman scorned? I guess so. That's why I'm rebelling. Jay Allen, how's the MTC gang doing? We're chilling. Everyone in the chat, please let me know how you're doing. Ray K, it's good to see you. Lazarus, what's up? Brian, what's up? Nice to see ya. Who else we have? Jay Allen, the offer still stands, MTC. Whoa, what? Is that another proposal in the chat? I don't know. Why do you guys keep proposing to me? This is crazy. I have too many fiancés. We have Mike Volmer in the chat as well. We have Ross. Good morning to you. John Germain, my In-N-Out friend. I literally make John Germain send me pictures of his In-N-Out burger in our Discord and Telegram because I love In-N-Out burger. I would die to get In-N-Out burger. I would eat it for breakfast. And I like to take it mellow for breakfast. You know what I mean? But if I have In-N-Out burger, 100% I will eat it for breakfast. We have Richard Barry in the chat. Crypto Surge, it's great to see you. Should you worry about your Chase account in the United States? That's a good question. I'll jump into that. We also have Gary Gensler that's going live in 10 minutes. So I guess I got to get things going if we want to tune into that. If you guys want to see the Gary Gensler live stream, put a 1 in the chat. If you don't, put a 2. Let me know what you guys think. This is a democracy after all. Tom Allen, it's great to see you. Oval Boar is chilling in the chat. My girl, Alexandra G. Yeah, Alexandra, kill it. Kill it. Kill it. We also have... Yeah, we Alexandra G's chilling. Automatic Beats, nice to see ya. Who else? Jim, you made it. Crimson. Tell your girlfriend and your wife I said hello. Nick FLP, nice to see you. Hold on. John Legend, I said hello to. Hi, Doug. Great to see you. John Foster, say hello to Emma Foster for me and hello to you. Kirk McIntyre, nice to see you. We have Misko. Good morning to you. Justin Eubanks, yo! Nice to see you. That's how I read your messages. Just so you know, Justin, whenever I read your messages, I read it like, yo!
Thank you. You're welcome.
Diglets!
You're welcome.
Diglets!
You're welcome.
I thought Gary was my king, but I'm not so sure anymore.
Hucksters, fraudsters, scam artists, Ponzi schemes.
That's how Gary feels about you, Diglets. So is that your Kang? I don't think he should be your Kang. And by the way, we're going to go with the Mitch Ray Vibe channel. We call them Kangs and Quains. Kangs and Quains. I love saying it. Integra guy. Oh, morning to you, my friend. Was that you in the picture at the bar with Oval Boar? Was that what you guys were sending to me? Is that you, my friend, that was in the picture? I need to know because I'm trying to piece it together. I know what Oval looks like now, but was that you in the other picture with the t-shirt on? Smiley, it's great to see you again. I know you're waving in the chat. Academy. Oh, you want me to shout out Hex? Okay, I guess you got it. I guess I said the word. American Legend, nice to see you. I know things are going on. Eric, nice to see you. In My Hero, Rusty Bot. Oh my gosh, what is going on? The chat's freaking mooning. Mark Smithson, Miss Crimson. Oh my gosh, it's Mrs. Crimson. Crimson, you brought your wife today. Hello, Mrs. Crimson. Nice to see. I know you're a more hi, how are you type of person. So I know your vibe. You're not gonna with me like Crimson. That's fine. But a nice hi, hello, how are you? That warms my heart from the misses. Anyone else? Did I miss anyone? If I missed you, please yell at me in the chat. I have the next one down the line. American Legend says, okay. Mark Smithson is in the chat. I know I shouted you out. I think I got everyone. I think I did. Mark Z, I didn't get you. I got it. So people do want a Gary stream. Seems like that's what you guys want. Okay. Frank, say hi from Spain. Hello, Frank from Spain. Welcome. That's beautiful. I love my international friends. Good morning. 40, you came. Good morning to you. T-Bone, hello. No screaming from Mrs. Crimson. You haven't had your coffee yet. Please. If you haven't yet, please brew up your coffee. We are fueled by coffee and Bitcoin on this channel. Randy A is here. Ali is here. Oh my gosh. Bees, Buzz, nice to see a new face in the community. Hello, Bees, Buzz to you too. Shadow Trades, hello from Romania. Hello, my Romanian friends. Thank you for joining. Wow, we have some new people. Meninja's in the chat. Sheldon, nice to see you. I think we have more people that I'm definitely missing. Lux, I look better today than yesterday. Are you talking about me? I look better today than yesterday? Well, I guess thank you. Crypto Wolf, GM to you. Thank you for the heart. Me hearts to you back, my friends. Nice mug. Thank you. Hi, Crypto Surfer. Welcome to the show. Mile High Crypto, good morning to you. Sheesh, man. If you guys are new in the chat, can you please let me know? Please let me know if you're new because I want to give you love. If you guys are members, then make sure you guys are smashing the noodle emoji in the chat because I'm about to lose it. And spam those Garys, man. Welcome to the stream, everybody. We're going to get into the market recap. Gary goes live in 5 minutes, but usually the beginning is like so lame. So we're going to go over some things as much as we can before I get into that. Oh gosh, of course, Creighton. I'm new. Creighton, what can I even give you? Bruh. That's for Creighton. Bruh. All right. He's going to get mad that I'm already beefing with him. It's the way it goes. Now we have the markets here. Bitcoin Cash is actually very much in the green today, up 9.4%. We got Rollbit. Why is this up 8%? I'm not even talking about that one. FTT down 7.7%. That's probably the only thing that makes sense here. Now, we're going to continue on. We're going to keep calm. We're going to hoggle on. After looking at the hour, she doesn't look that cute. But the day looks good, so we're going to stick with the green mentality. And head over to Bitcoin. She's pamping it up this morning. You got to pamp it up, pamp it up, pamp it up. Oh, shoot. Okay, the music ended. We have Bitcoin, $26,566 today, up 1.37%. It was a little bit higher when I tweeted that Bitcoin was pamping, but it still is it's a tiny pamp. It's not an extreme pamp. Oh, gosh.
You're welcome.
Thank you for the fake rose, I guess. I don't know how that makes me feel. Honestly, I don't know how it makes me feel. We have the red money flow that's still stagnant here on Bitcoin, but we have a green dot printed here on the market ciphers. We also see that we have VWAP at the zero line. Where will she go next? We are eager to see. It seems like momentum wants to spike back up as well. Now, let's look at the RSI because I heard she's spicy today. Oh, and she is. We had this thumbs down movement right here. But it seems like we are spiking up. We're having a spike. It's like it gives me like, that little pop feeling. We're in a neutral zone here for the RSI, literally right above the 50 line. And if we keep going up, we are in that bullish territory. So let's hope we see that. We were oversold here. The last day we were oversold was August 28th. So very interesting. Very, very interesting. I want to see what happens next with Bitcoin, considering that we want to approach this 200-day SMA that's currently sitting at $27,958. Oh my gosh, Bitcoin. Sideways trading up the wazoo. We had a high today of 26.8. We had opened the day here at 26.1. So we're currently midway between this high and low of the day. I would like to see 27.1 pimp right through that sheesh and make sure we see that volume coming in. So where are my bulls in the chat? Please, I need to know how you feel in the chat. Please. Please. Let's take a look here. Again, 27.1. We need that momentum. We've pretty much, Bitcoin has been the same price, give or take a few grand, since March 17th. Absolutely lame. But when Bitcoin appears to be lame is when she goes insane, if you know what I mean. He. Boom. Don't be shocked. When Bitcoin makes a move, again, 27.1, if we have a confident push through there, our goal is that 200-day SMA, get above the 200-day SMA, and hopefully we have some bullish price action to follow. Now, let's move over to Ethereum, 1617. I'm happy she's over $1,600. I just want to get over 1630, which is where we hit today earlier. We hit our resistance and then we kind of moved back. Again, we're at $1,617 for Ethereum, up 1.54%. That VWAP looks a little bit more spicy on Ethereum than it does Bitcoin. Bitcoin, as you can see, she wants to break through that zero line, but ETH, she already did it. Pimping it up over here. Oh, yeah. We have that sideways money flow, though, and I would like to see that pick up. The momentum is going to pick up as well, hopefully, with that green dot being printed here on Market Cipher. Now, looking at the RSI, we see that Bitcoin's RSI is a little bit more spicy than Ethereum's. However, Ethereum is having a nice little spike here with the RSI, almost within that neutral territory. I consider, like, around here neutral. Hopefully, we get above that 50 line and we have a great time with Ethereum and maybe see a pimp, maybe see some independent moves from Ethereum to Bitcoin. Usually, Ethereum moves with the Bitcoin. If Bitcoin grows up, so does Ethereum. I would like to see some independent price action, which we started to see a few months ago, but really not much to be very obsessed with. We still have 3 white soldiers here on Ethereum as well that we're looking to maintain, and it becomes invalid when we hit 1550. Hopefully we don't get there. Again, we did touch our 1630 resistance this morning. Maybe that's indicative of where the rest of the day goes. We want to get through 1630, head to 1700, and hopefully get to our 200-day SMA. That would be absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Now, I wish I could stack all the Litecoins in the world. It's up 1% today, $64.44. Litecoin makes me so happy. If there's a coin that makes me happy, if there's a blockchain that makes me happy besides Bitcoin, it's Litecoin. She just glows in the dark. She's the shining light where there's darkness. There's a glimpse of hope where there's despair. There's Litecoin. That is feasible. That's sitting at $64, absolutely being slept on, if you know what I mean. Litecoin, longest running blockchain with no downtime, even though it doesn't reflect it on the price. Price doesn't always equal value, if you know what I say. If you know what I say. I know I have my Litecoin friends in the chat. Spam those Litecoin emojis if you have them. Make sure you guys take a look here at the money flow, where we see that we have a dip. Why, Litecoin? Why? But what's interesting here is that we had the momentum shifted over, and it seems like it wants to go back over that zero line when it peaked right below it, if you guys see right here. We also printed a green dot. We also see that the VWAP wants to go over that zero line. Now, looking at the RSI, it's pretty interesting as well because it's kind of like Ethereum vibes. However, I would like to see that spike go over the 50 line and head into bullish territory. Right now, it's kind of bearish, a little neutral. Not as zesty as I would like it, as you guys would know. Again, you guys know the goal. I say it since we've been sideways trading at this level, $64.67, then maybe $74, and tap that 200-day SMA, sending at $83.78. Brooke, if you want to see the screen, then make sure you go click my PFP, head over to youtube.com/missteencrypto. The link is in my bio. You'll be able to see the charts and everything. We also have Dogecoin today that's just above 6 cents, and I'm very sad if it falls below 6 cents. That's very worrisome for me. As you guys can see, I'm a little scared even at this level. Doge, I want to get to that 6.5 cent range, even though, again, that money flow does not look spicy. The VWAP might look a little bit more spicy, but we need some action. We need some love. We need some positivity here for Dogecoin. Let's check in on Gary since we just finished our market recap. Boopity doop. Let's refresh. I don't know if it's live yet. This is all I see right now. Hearing entitled Oversight of the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. Coverage begins at 10 a.m. What? This is the...
The colleagues at the Department of Treasury.
Where is Gary? Where is Gary? I thought I had the link for this. 2 hours, live stream. Click here to view live stream. I got it. I got it. They only have 85 likes. Can we ratio the SEC?
You're welcome. Thank you. You're welcome.
But what about the XRP, Mom? The XRP?
The XRP. You're funny. Okay, so again, Gary's not live yet. There's only 85 likes here on the GOP live stream. Can we ratio the GOP? Can we ratio them? Can we get more likes than them? We have 82 people here. We have 62 likes. Let's get 100 likes and beat the GOP and their live stream. All right, so I'll have the volume on in case it starts in the background so we hear it. I'll go to XRP because 3 Diglets gave me the beautiful super chat and a request. I feel so special. Okay, so we have XRP. XRP, we wanted, that was like the optimistic thing where we would bounce down to this resistance level 47 cents and bounce up, which it seems like it's kind of playing out the way we kind of wanted it to. Even though we've been tiffing with the 200-day SMA here for the XRP, as our friend Lil Diglets calls it. Let's look at the money flow again. We're at 50 cents here, up 0.58% for XRP today. We're looking to maybe spike with that VWAP. We don't know. It seems like we're having a dip in money flow and red dots being printed on market Cipher. She doesn't look like overwhelmingly zesty Diglets. However, seems like the RSI wants to make a move. If the RSI reaches this neutral territory, we'll talk. We'll talk. However, we're still mid-range between the resistance, 46 cents, and 54. 54, I remember, was what the target was for us pre-XRP pimp that we eventually, again, pretty much gave back those gains on. Again, holding this level is okay. If we fall below this bottom, around 46, 47 cents, then I'd be nervous. But it seems like XRP is just still sideways until another catalyst comes. That's like what needs to happen for XRP, because previous to this, it didn't move. Like previous to the case, it really didn't move. Like, let's be honest, it's very sideways. And then it took for them to win the case to move on, and it's still we're sideways after that. I would think like there would be more liquidity in Ripple or XRP since, again, there was more going on. Oh, I think it's starting. Let me see. I hear volumes. Okay. Not really going on yet. Let me mute that for now. I have it in the background. I can see it. Oh, we have a birthday. Sheldon. Where's Sheldon in the chat? Sheldon. Oh my gosh, where's Sheldon? I see someone has a birthday. Oh, Sheldon G, a shout out from Teen Crypto would make my day. Oh my gosh, happy birthday, Sheldon. Yay, happy birthday to you, my friend. Thank you for spending your birthday with me. I appreciate it so very much. I hope you have a very special and zesty day. Hearts and hugs to you. Oh, that's so beautiful. Gorgeous that you spend your birthday with us. I'm honored. I am honored. Guys, please throw some party hats. Throw some, like, maybe SpongeBob emojis if you're a member to make sure you show, like, the woo, rainbows and butterflies and unicorns today. Just for Sheldon. Where is this freaking live stream? All I hear is chitter chatter in the background. All right, so I guess while we're waiting for this, do that one more time. I don't know. I need another reason to pamp it up. We don't acknowledge Gary G, do we? I don't know. Gary Gensler's not in the chat, but I know Gary's talking a lot of smack.
Fraudsters, scam artists, Ponzi schemes.
Hello, PM Squared. Welcome to the show. Appreciate you joining us today. Don't you know, pimp it up. Maybe I could sing. Creighton, you know you start a lot of trouble, Creighton. I know you start a lot of trouble. It's what you do. Continuous issues with you, Creighton. Continuous. All right, let's see if we could. Again, we have 97 people watching. There's 108 likes on the GOP live stream. Let's ratio them. Oh, I think we got something going. Let's see. Patrick McHenry, icon.
The chair is authorized to declare a recess of the committee at any time. The hearing is titled Oversight of the Securities and Exchange Commission. Without objection, all members will have 5 legislative days within which to submit extraneous material to the chair for inclusion in the record. I now recognize myself for 4 minutes to give an opening statement.
Oh, shoot.
Welcome back, Chairman Gensler. Last time you were before the committee, I voiced my concerns regarding your reckless approach to
More vocals,
rulemaking,
Plaza.
lack of capital formation agenda, crusade against the digital asset ecosystem, and unresponsiveness to Congress. So many things change, so many things remain the same. Those are the same issues on the docket today.
Hucksters, fraudsters, scam artists, Ponzi schemes. There you go. Here's your vocals.
Legitimate and often bipartisan concern expressed by this committee and these committee members. That is disgraceful. So let's run through them again. Let me be clear, Chairman Gensler, our patience is wearing thin. First, the Securities and Exchange Commission's current approach to rulemaking jeopardizes the integrity of our financial markets and puts investors at risk. There's a critical need for comprehensive economic analysis of the rules you've proposed and their interaction with one another. Under your leadership, the Commission has failed to adequately assess their interplay and cumulative impact. That's shoddy work for an important agency and does not adhere to the SEC's mandatory statutory authority.
Guys, do you think Gary Gensler should get fired? Please write fire Gary Gensler. Put a fire Gary emoji if you are a member. Let me know if you think Gary Gensler should be fired.
Bipartisan bicameral concerns. Members of both sides of the aisle have raised valid concerns regarding the MiFID relief, swing pricing, hard close, as well as your equity market structure overhaul. The Securities and Exchange Commission has taken no action to address these concerns. Second, you continue to fail to prioritize capital formation. Among your expansive rulemaking agenda items, there is not a single initiative aimed at improving access to capital or enhancing market competitiveness. Third, your efforts to choke off the digital asset ecosystem, which has created real harm for consumers and our markets, is clear to all. You said the law is clear, but your actions have created more confusion and lasting damage. Chair Gensler, you've also said your goal is consumer protection. Yet your actions have pushed legitimate digital asset activities outside of regulated financial institutions where consumers are best protected. On one hand, we've seen bipartisan votes in Congress, in this committee, to provide clear rules of the road and real consumer protection. And on the other, we've seen your ad hoc regulation by enforcement approach to digital assets on a losing streak in the courts. You refuse to be transparent with Congress regarding your interactions with FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried. Yeah. That's the investigation we started last Congress. Finally, your lack of responsiveness to this committee's legitimate oversight continues to be unacceptable. And I want to finish here. In February, the committee made multiple requests for documents to the Securities and Exchange Commission. This is normal congressional oversight. Yet 7 months later, the committee has not received a single non-public document that was not part of a FOIA production. As I said, our patience is wearing thin. The SEC is not above the law, nor is it unique. Other financial regulators have routinely complied with congressional oversight. So let me be clear. I do not want to be the first chairman of this committee to issue a subpoena to the Securities and Exchange Commission. And you should not want to be the first SEC chair to receive a congressional subpoena. Either we find a path forward where the SEC recognizes Congress as a co-equal branch of government and is responsive to our oversight duties, or my option is to issue a subpoena. It's time for you to consider the lasting consequences of your actions, and what that means to the Securities and Exchange Commission's reputation long term. While your time in this role may be temporary, the repercussions for your actions may be permanent for the agency. I yield back. Now recognize the ranking member of the committee for 4 minutes for an opening statement.
Good morning.
Oh, God.
The chairman just indicated that his patience is running thin.
Not Maxine.
Mine is thinner with the opposite side of the aisle and the extreme MAGA Republicans who have taken over the House of Representatives and who are gleefully forcing the government of the greatest country in the world to shut down and forcing millions of government workers, including U.S. service members protecting the economy, to work for free or not at all. Likewise, in 3 days, the Securities and Exchange Commission, which is in charge of overseeing our $110 trillion capital markets, will also be shuttered. This extreme MAGA shutdown would cripple the SEC's ability to stop fraud, help businesses raise money, or finalize rules that are critical to investors. But you won't hear the Republicans today express any concern about the SEC or the countless businesses, workers, or investors that may be harmed when Republicans unilaterally defund Wall Street's cops. Chair Gensler, I know that you and your agency are likely concerned about what will happen later this week. I too am concerned. Earlier this year, we saw Fitch downgrade the U.S. credit rating after Republicans tried to force a default, and now Moody's is also considering downgrading the U.S. rating if Republicans and Trump get the shutdown they so desperately want. I hope we can discuss today how undermining the SEC's mission by furloughing 90% of your staff will affect this country and your ability to protect our markets. That said, I want you to know that you're doing exactly the job that the American people want. Under your leadership, the SEC is providing investors with the information they need to evaluate climate change risk. You are reforming the stock market, which failed investors during the GameStop trading event. And you're working to empower investors to exercise their votes over companies they own.
Guys, how do you feel about Maxine Waters? SBF's hair or Maxine Waters? So SBF for SBF's hair and MW for Maxine Waters.
Although Republicans will likely claim that the SEC is implementing too many rules too quickly, the fact is that you're moving thoughtfully and
Guys, we have 120 people. Let's get 100 likes. That would make my heart very warm.
fewer rules than the Trump, Obama, and Bush administrations at this point in their tenure, and you've provided twice as much time to comment than is required by law. The SEC is very much implementing the priorities that I and my Democratic colleagues championed when we were in charge, and is shaping up to be the most pro-worker, pro-investor, pro-small business SEC since FDR created the agency. Chair Gensler, I appreciate that you're here today, even as you and your staff prepare to close the agency. I hope that if nothing else comes of this hearing, the American people will understand that this extreme MAGA Republican shutdown is the biggest threat to our nation.
Yeah, she does have nicer nails than most women. She has time for that.
My patient is wearing thinner than the chairman's patient. Let's get on with it.
Let's get on with it, bro.
I yield back.
She's so funny. I love her. She's so funny. She makes me laugh. You're doing
Ranking
exactly
member
what you need
yields
to do,
back.
Gary.
The chair recognizes Ms. Wagner, the chairman of the Subcommittee on Capital Markets, for 1 minute.
Thank you, Chairman McHenry. Yes, let's get on with it. The SEC's mission is to protect investors, maintain fair, orderly, and efficient markets, and facilitate capital formation. Unfortunately, your leadership has undermined these core objectives, sir.
Yep.
None of the 50-odd proposals your SEC has proposed promotes capital formation. Instead, the focus has shifted towards imposing costly regulatory and disclosure requirements. Equally troubling and potential violations of the Administrative Procedure Act, as recent SEC proposals lack a comprehensive analysis of market dynamics and their consequences, especially for SEC rules that have been changed. Here's the way forward, sir. 1, begin with a robust engagement with market participants to shape your thinking before proposing rules. 2, conduct investor testing. 3, economic analysis, and looking at not just the individuals, but the cumulative. 4, do not ignore Congress when you send bipartisan letters expressing concerns about detrimental effects of the proposals. We need market integrity. I yield back.
We'll now recognize the ranking member of the Capital Markets Subcommittee, Mr. Sherman of California, for 1 minute.
Mr. Gensler, you've done more than anyone in government to thwart the creation of an efficient
Oh, God,
ecosystem
this guy.
that will allow corrupt politicians to not have to have hundreds of thousands of dollars of cash and gold bars in their home when they could be discovered by the FBI. You prevented a system where we can have anonymous, unhosted wallets providing an efficient method for the corrupt politicians of the future. You are providing additional regulations which provide clarity to the market participants and protect investors, but according to a Bloomberg study, you're actually producing fewer regulations than your predecessor, recent predecessors. You're generally right, except swing pricing. And finally, ESG is material to investors.
I can't with this guy.
It
This guy's
will affect
hilarious.
trillions of dollars of investment decisions. That's why corporate America is trying to prevent you from getting that information to the investors who want
Gentleman's
it.
time's expired. We'll now recognize the chair of the Securities Exchange Commission.
Let's go, Gary. Spam Gary emojis.
Good
Write
morning.
Gary in the chat.
For 5 minutes for an oral presentation of his testimony without
Right, Gary,
objection,
in the
your written
chat.
statement will be made
gonna
a part
vote-
of the
he's
record.
gonna talk about
Chair
crypto,
Gensler,
guys.
you're now recognized for 5 minutes.
Good morning, Chair McHenry, Ranking Member Waters, and members of the committee. Thank you for inviting me here today. As is customary, I'd like to note that my views are my own as chair of the SEC, and I am not speaking on behalf of my fellow commissioners or the SEC staff. For 90 years, the federal securities laws and our work to oversee them have played a crucial role for the public, both in good times and in stress times. The core principles of the U.S. securities markets regulation have contributed to America's economic success and geopolitical standing. At this remarkable agency, we serve investors building for a better future and issuers raising money to fund innovation while overseeing the $100 trillion capital markets where investors and issuers meet. The essence of this captured in our three-part mission: protecting investors, maintaining fair, orderly, efficient markets in the middle,
Oh, gosh.
and facilitating capital formation, as Chair Wagner mentioned earlier and Chair McHenry. The
Thank you,
SEC
friend.
is the cop on the beat watching out for constituents. The dedicated staff of the agency does an extraordinary job with limited resources. America is blessed with the largest, most sophisticated, and most innovative capital markets in the world, but we cannot take this for granted. Even a gold medalist must keep training. That's why we're updating our rules for the technology and business models of the 2020s. My written testimony details those efforts, and I'm sure I'll get questions on this rule or that rule, but I'd like to just point out overall a context. We're updating our rules to promote the efficiency, integrity, and resiliency of the middle, the markets in the middle, and that helps capital formation on one side, investors on the other, and we do so with an eye on those investors and issuers and making sure the markets work for them rather than issuers and investors working for Wall Street and the markets in the middle. We're working to help lower cost, increase access, and promote financial stability, and each of the proposals we've made in the last 2 years further this three-part mission, given the authorities granted by Congress. And our Division of Economic and Risk Analysis provides robust economic analysis, which consider the cost and benefits, as well as effects on efficiency, competition, and capital formation as Congress mandated. We greatly benefit also from public input regarding economics, the policies themselves, our legal authorities, and we get that feedback. And in the last 2 years, we've provided the public ample time to comment, with an average 70 days to comment from the time the proposal is published. And since January of last year, 22, we've always had a minimum of 60 days from when it's on our website, sometimes as long as 100 days. When comment periods close, we often continue to get additional comments through meetings and otherwise, which staff has considered as well, including really helpful letters from members of this committee. Based on the public feedback, the staff and the commission consider possible adjustments to the proposals and whether it's appropriate to move forward with the final rule. This process normally takes 12 to 24 months.
Oh,
And
gosh,
we
come
move
on.
to adopt rules only when the staff and the commission think they are ready to be considered. We're focused on getting it right based upon the economics, the authorities, promoting the mission, not against a clock. The SEC now has issued proposals for most of that unified agenda from 2 years ago. We've finalized 24 rulemakings, nearly all of which have changed from the proposals based on the public feedback, including from members of this committee. I'm grateful to work alongside a remarkable staff and fellow commissioners to promote efficiency, integrity, and resiliency. with the possibility of a government shutdown, I would note, as our oversight committee, that we would be down to a small skeletal staff, about 7-8% of our staff, everybody else being furloughed. Normal oversight of the markets, given this, will not be possible in the SEC during the pendency of a shutdown. So we look forward to the day when we can get back to work, hopefully, and fulfill our mission in support of the public. Thank you.
Jeez, come on. That was nothing.
Gentleman yields back. Will now recognize myself for 5 minutes.
Scott,
Chair Gensler,
Scott,
last time we were
84
here,
years.
I asked you about Ether.
Oh, come on, guys.
In 2018, you say that Bitcoin, Ether, Litecoin, and Bitcoin Cash are not securities. So I want to focus today on Bitcoin. Why do you believe Bitcoin is not a security?
Thank you, Chair, and I think you're referencing remarks I made as a professor at MIT. And as I wrote in that paper at that time, it was really about something called the Howey test. And the Supreme Court, it's the law of the land, talks about if the public is anticipating a profit based on the efforts of others. And as I think I noted in that paper back in 2018, I didn't see that Bitcoin
But
met
your
that.
view on Bitcoin, you've made comments on this. You believe Bitcoin is not a security. Is that true?
Well, I think the staff of the SEC have also, and the prior
Well,
chair.
I'm just asking you this question, and this is not a gotcha. I thought this was going to be an easy softball into harder questions. Do you think Bitcoin is a security?
No, I think I've said this in the past, that I think that it doesn't
I'm asking you
meet the
to
Howey
answer
test.
my question now. This is not supposed to be hard.
I know, I said it
Just
does
answer-
not meet the Howey test, which is the
Okay.
law of the land about being an
So
investment
it doesn't meet the
contract or
Howey test.
security.
So therefore, it's a commodity. Is that fair?
I would say it's not a security, and then the test is otherwise for other
Okay.
laws.
Well, the CFTC says they don't have the authority over Bitcoin and digital commodities. Do you think legislation is necessary to protect consumers in the world of digital assets, in particular, given that gap around just Bitcoin?
I think, as I've testified here in this committee room 4 years ago as a private citizen, that for the parts of the crypto ecosystem that are not securities, though under the Commodities Exchange Act, the CFTC has some anti-fraud authorities, they don't have what's called plenary authority to write rules around that. And as I've said in the past, I've been supportive of our sister agency, if I
Look
can
at the
say
top
that.
right, guys.
An
They're
agency that I
advertising for
once
a
was honored
wallet.
to chair, and I like quite a bit, doesn't have that plenary authority, and if Congress moved forward on that, that could help them.
So the spot market lacks a regulatory paradigm and established law. So should we take action there?
I'm sorry, I'm not sure I follow. The U.S. stock market you're talking about, the securities
No,
market?
the CFTC. I'm continuing with your answer. My follow-up there was, because there's not a regulatory remit that Congress has given them, clear regulatory remit, we should step in. So let me just move on. I've talked about your non-compliance with document requests made by this committee. You believe the commission must vote in order to produce non-public information to this committee. Do you not?
Under the Exchange Act, I do believe that the
Okay.
commission needs
So
that vote.
have you scheduled a vote necessary to provide the non-public documents to this committee?
We, I think, have been working with your staff and believe in oversight of this committee, we've provided somewhere over 40,000 pages
Yes,
of
nothing,
documents.
as I said in my opening statement, nothing that was non-public did you provide. In fact, you produced one of the letters that we wrote to you as responsive documents. It showed the absurdity of it. So the General Counsel's office has indicated to my staff that after a 10-week review process, these documents are ready to be transmitted. It just needs a vote. When do you intend to schedule that vote?
Guys,
We
which
continue to
wallet
work
is this?
with you and your staff. We've had, the commission has approved that some senior staff will be taking transcribed interviews, I think, with your staff, and we.
But that is not responsive to my document requests. This should not be the hard work of a chairman to answer these questions.
Guys, which wallet is
You have
that?
30 major rulemakings, but you won't even provide basic documents to us. Your unresponsiveness is non-compliance, and we'll have to take action if you're not willing to comply.
Is it
You have
trust?
a 10-week review
Are you sure?
process, and you've not
It's not
provided
trust.
documents. Furthermore, you haven't even done the economic analysis of your
That's not
interplay of
it.
these major rulemakings that are going to affect anybody who owns a stock, bond, or any type of security. And so you've got serious questions to answer to the public and to Congress, and we intend to get your compliance. We can do it the easy way or the hard way. And with that, I yield back. The ranking member is now recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you very much. There are a number of questions that I would like to ask, but since we started out on Bitcoins, let's go further into crypto. Chair Gensler, I've heard you often say there is mass non-compliance by crypto firms in the marketplace today. I'm very concerned with what sounds like gross violations of the law that end in investors getting ripped off. The failures and fraud of crypto firms like Terra Luna, for example, cost investors as much as $60 billion, which was larger than the Madoff Ponzi scheme in 2008. I know that the SEC has brought enforcement actions against Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX, the failure of which cost investors $9 billion. Since we're talking about,
It's Roman
everything
Reigns,
today,
Seth Rollins, and
can
Dean
you please
Ambrose
describe the actions that the SEC has taken to shut down crypto firms and recover funds for harmed investors? How much in penalties have defendants paid in cases you have settled? Are crypto firms getting the message?
Thank you. I do share your concerns that this is a field that's rife with fraud and manipulation and scams, and the American public is still getting hurt by the non-compliance in this field. In terms of the SEC's approach, it's both through policy and rulemaking and, yes, in enforcement. The SEC had finalized rules with regard to special purpose broker-dealers in crypto, and we also addressed questions that came up about crypto exchanges, the custody of crypto in a custody rule that I imagine we'll chat a little bit about later today, and even best execution. But unfortunately, as you noted, we've brought numerous cases in this field to try to protect the American public and be a cop on the beat with regard to so many of these schemes.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to make sure that the opposite side of the aisle, who protects too often in too many different ways crypto firms, that they know what you're doing. Let me move on. I'm going to ask a few questions about the impact of the government shutdown on SEC's operation. Chair Gensler, approximately how many people work at the agency and what percentage will be furloughed during a government shutdown?
We have just under 5,000 employees, and probably 92 or 3% will be furloughed. So we'll be down to a skeletal staff.
Which divisions would most be impacted, and describe for us what these divisions do?
It's really across the whole agency, but the bulk of our workforce is in examinations, in enforcement, in disclosure review. But let me say what the public won't have. They won't have somebody really at full force overseeing the market. For companies that want to go public, we won't be able to really review the documents, or what's called documents going effective if you want to do an initial public offering, which is so critical to capital formation. We will keep open, I want to say this for the public, we will keep open our tips, complaint, and referral lines. We will keep open comment files so people can still submit comments on our rulemaking and the like, but we won't really have individuals behind the scenes to follow up except
I
for
too am
skeletal
worried
staff.
about public offerings. I've worked with the opposite side of the aisle to improve the ability of those who want to do IPOs, but as you explain it, this will have a negative impact, the shutdown, on the ability for IPOs to be initiated. Is that correct?
I think that's just a practical reality, yes.
What happens if a whistleblower comes to the commission with urgent information that could protect investors? Would there be staff to process this? Could the commission deploy resources in response to this information?
Though we will be able to intake, there won't be the usual investigative force of individuals to follow up as readily unless it's an emergency and it's about specifically protection of property.
What will happen if there's a major disruption in the capital markets operations and infrastructure during the shutdown? Could the SEC be there to respond?
It's a very good question. I mean, if there were a market event, as you say, senior leadership would be there, but again, we'd be down to a skeletal staff.
And so
Gary Gensler has record funding, and he still has no resources? I don't understand.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Gensler, it's good to have you. I want to start out today and talk about equity market structure as a topic. Just yesterday, Congressman Foster and I sent you a letter signed by 16 Democrats and 16 Republicans to express our concerns about the equity market structure proposals that the Commission has initiated. The letter urges you quite simply to stop your rulemaking on that broad set of proposals until you finalize the trade execution data rule, the so-called 605 data rule, and that be done first so that you can rely on that data for an appropriate rulemaking. And this speaks to Mr. McHenry's point about the interplay between the rules, which, contrary to the ranking member, I think there are 50 pending proposals. Many of them interact. They are confusing and sometimes in conflict with each other, and I think this is a classic example. And I think it's particularly true where you're failing to do a rigorous cost-benefit analysis for many of the rules.
Thank you to Three Diglets for the Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose wallet. It's so funny, dude.
Times to describe its impact on efficiency and competition for the most important financial market in the world, U.S. Treasuries. So, Mr. Chairman, I would just say this is not MAGA Republicans that are sending you a critical letter of concern. It's a very bipartisan view, 32 members of this body that think the SEC should reconsider. Would you wait for the Rule 605 data before you finish the other equity market proposals?
I thank you for the letter. I did read it last night around 9:30 when it came in, and it's part of our comment file. We'll take it and think of it very seriously. But I would say in terms of the equity markets, the rules have largely not been updated since 2000.
There's no questions being answered. Let's talk about crypto. Let's talk about if Ethereum's a security. Let's get the real answers.
Comment, but I really urge you to get these equity markets proposals in order and to rely on data and not just emotion or one meme stock event to make policy. Let me change subjects. Let me talk about my favorite kitty cat, which is the CAT, Consolidated Audit Trail. For over a decade, this bad idea has been floating around the Commission since the flash crash in 2010 to collect and store private personal information on every American and every American with a brokerage account at every broker-dealer. In my view, this is a massive overkill. This is unnecessary invasion of privacy. This is a massive new tax on the brokerage account of individual American citizens. And maybe worst of all, considering the 9 years I've been here, this is another massive centralized government database that's going to be hacked, like the IRS, like the CFPB, like OPM. And so I've got real concerns about it.
It's like they only have 5 minutes, but they spend most of it asking the question, where are the answers?
Clayton, and now
Why is
for
there a
you.
time limit for
In fact,
answers?
You inherited this albatross. Why don't you just bury it and say that we're not going to do the CAT?
Though I inherited, not only from them, but I inherited from my dad, a real allergy to cats, and it's real.
Oh, my God.
Oh,
my God.
Yeah. Well, we don't have
Gary's
time for
allergic to
that. I'm
cats.
reclaiming my time. We can have a cat visit. We can do the kitty part later. Do you know what a
Jeez.
targeted exam
Is this
letter
real?
is by the FINRA? Do you know what that is?
I'm familiar with exam letters.
Yep. And do you know what a blue sheet is?
Sir, I'm generally familiar. I don't know where you're headed, but I'm generally familiar.
And so, and you know that all of our markets have regular daily, intraday, overnight global market surveillance on trading, right? That's a general feature of all of our SROs, right? You agree with that?
They don't surveil all the insider
SROs are
trading, though.
responsible to do that, sir.
Yeah, I understand that, and you regulate the SROs. So what I'm suggesting to you is there's no justification for capturing all these trades when you have right now market surveillance data available to Enforcement Division, and you can right now do a sweep exam through a blue sheet, which is where you go to large traders and you look at everybody who traded in Apple. You can get all the PII you want because you have a probable cause for doing that. And that's why CAT, I think, exceeds what you should be doing. Why is the blue sheet targeted exam process inadequate for you to do your job?
Inadequate.
So I think you raise a good question, but the
Like Mr.
consolidated
Yeehaw.
audit trail gives the self-regulatory organizations and the SEC a look at those orders and matches up sometimes.
They've got the ability to do that now. They don't need to capture everybody's trade in every retail brokerage account in America. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. We'll now
But he didn't
recognize
answer
the ranking member
anything.
of the Capital Markets Subcommittee, Mr.
I
Sherman
am
to California.
frustrated.
As the chairman points out, it's about capital formation. You're at the nerve center of the world capitalist system, where capital is deployed to operating businesses. If we have a shutdown of the government, I think it's already been pointed
Why
out
is
by the
he
ranking
back?
member that we stop all IPOs in their tracks. Does this also apply to companies that are already public but are issuing additional shares? And does it also apply to new bond issuances?
I'm glad to follow up and have staff chat with you. It's more nuanced.
What a waste. What a waste. Why doesn't he answer questions, guys? I'm getting frustrated. And why is there a time limit on his answers? Why is there a time limit, like, on any of this? Yes, 5 minutes to maybe answer questions, but when it gets into his court, why is that a part of the 5 minutes? He just plays and plays and plays. And Sherman, this guy's a total freaking
Capital, or a huge portion of the
even
initial
understand. I don't
capital that would be
understand. I'm
raised
freaking
for
out.
operating businesses would be blocked. We also, as I understand, as far as providing assurance for the honesty of markets, you'll continue to collect emails as they come in, but you won't be doing any investigations or opening any additional investigatory files, correct?
It's really prescribed and narrow. It relates to a 19th century law called the Inefficiency Act.
Why
But
is he laughing?
We can protect public property, but it's
Okay,
it's really
so nobody's going to be
narrow remit.
stealing your computers, but you're not.
Creighton. Don't try me, Creighton.
You're not going to be. It's going to be the Wild West on Wall Street, all while.
Guys, please say hello to me. Make sure you guys smash these likes. There's 160 people. Let's get 150 likes. We only need 24 more. That would make me very happy because Gary is firing me up.
Swing pricing, I think it doesn't achieve its purpose. We should want people to invest in mutual funds and diversify and invest in America. But the swing pricing rule you've put forward has been criticized by a letter signed by the vast majority of Democrats on the Capital Markets Subcommittee, many Republicans.
Eric, if I got his salary, I wouldn't be lying. I'd be doing some good stuff for the people. Meanwhile, this guy just sits there and does nothing the entire time and laughs at us and doesn't answer any question. He says that his opinions are different from the SEC's, but when he asked a question about his personal opinion, he couldn't answer it. So what's the problem? Like, I don't get it. It's very hard to watch.
Disadvantage.
You're welcome. Thank you. You're welcome.
Any chance you'll be taking this role back to the drawing board?
Thank you.
We've
Thank
got
you.
a
That's,
lot of comments.
you know what?
I'm
You know
very
how to get
familiar
me.
with the
You know
letter
how to
that
get
you
me with
and
that one.
Representative Wagner
I need to hedge against this with
authored.
crypto. I'm so
It's really going at
freaking.
a core feature that when you have a mutual fund, if you redeem in that mutual fund, you should redeem at the right price so that the remaining shareholders
Ugh.
don't get
You know what, Gary? You're
dilution.
annoying me. While
It
you're
works well
talking.
in normal times.
You guys are arguing. Let's go check in on Bitcoin. Bitcoin's dumping, guys. We're down 0.06%. We took back our gains. Our high was 26.8 for the day. We're taking a dip down right now to 26.1. Almost 26.2, guys. I hope this doesn't, I hope we go back in the green. We're slightly in the green again. Let's hope we pamp this up, get some volume coming in. It seems like we're getting some volume here. Let's take a look at the 15 minutes. We're seeing a damp here on the 15-minute chart. Damn. All right, guys. Hopefully, again, this is a scary level then. If we don't make it back up from here, then I'm going to be a little bit nervous, because then what's our next point below? 25.9? No. No. Let's get that volume, guys. Where are my bulls? Where are the bulls?
No, its genesis, it came from Congress itself. And as part of Dodd-Frank 13 years ago, there was a new provision that
PM squared, I'm not
SEC
leveraged. The only thing I leverage is my heart for this community.
The custody of all customer assets by investment advisors.
Bitcoin going down to 20K, what?
Expanded it from just funds
Drons.
and securities to all assets.
Dusty.
That was the genesis.
I would hope that the rule would have separate sections and a
Creighton with
completely
the
different
TA.
approach for real estate on the one hand and crypto on the other. Real
Let's go.
estate is the title is public and
Crypto
the asset
news.
isn't moving anywhere, and intangible assets and crypto are very different. I believe my time has expired.
It does have separate sections, but we'll take that under advisement, and it's so good to see Representative.
Gentleman's time's expired.
Oh, God, he loves
We'll now
Sherman. The
recognize gentleman
bromance.
from Oklahoma making
Guys,
his,
please write bromance in the chat.
valiant return after tussling with a bull.
Yes, sir.
Happy to have you back, Frank.
He tussled with the bull. Who was that?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I very much appreciate that. And I would note to my colleagues, it has been a long time since I've sat this far down in a committee hearing. But after my interaction with the 1,000-pound bull, I'm just happy to be here. So with that, thank you.
Who's this
And
yeehaw,
I ask
Mr.
unanimous
Sir?
consent to restore the gentleman's time. We're happy to have you back, Frank.
Thank you. And my opportunity to visit with my old friend from many encounters and many discussions.
Yo, use your time.
Before I begin my questions, I'd like to reiterate a few points made in the bipartisan letter that I sent regarding the SEC's two proposed rulemakings on security-based swaps and security loans. And I'd like to enter that letter into the record, Mr. Chairman.
Without objection.
These proposals, I believe, could impair market liquidity while increasing risks and cost. And to avoid unintended negative consequences, the SEC should study the data for regulatory.
Listen, yes, indeed. I have a leveraged heart. My heart is leveraged for this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful space, and I love it so much. And it gets me very angry when there are people that don't answer questions.
Safeguarding advisory client assets. The
Yeah,
proposed
Creighton, I wanna go
rule
see a rodeo.
would impose requirements that are inconsistent with the CFTC rules, and you've spent a good bit of time working on CFTC rules in a past life.
We have 150 people
and
watching.
would
5 more likes for
indirectly
150
give
likes.
the
Woo!
SEC, I fear, authority over the CFTC's regulated markets. And in addition to being outside of the SEC's authority, this would create the significant problems, I think, across the entire financial.
Juan Lewis said, "Hello, Randy. Don't let Gary get to you." He already did. He's getting me very upset, Gary. Why? He doesn't answer question. Randomness, I hate this. So do I. Boosted, hello. What are we buying? We're buying our hearts and our love because we're hedging against Gary's evilness. He's so annoying, Gary. Gets me very upset. Yes, they've trained for years at answering questions. Like, they talk about cats. They're little kitties. Freaking Gary, oh, I'm allergic to cats. Meow, meow. What are you talking about, bro? What are you talking about?
Regulators at the CFTC about that safeguarding.
Guys, can you please send me a heart in the chat? Please send me love. Please send a heart. Send something. I need to know that you guys are here for me.
Only proposed earlier this year, and it usually takes 12 to 24 months before we even consider adoption. But I think that there are paths forward in terms of the intersection between their Rule 1.25 and these.
Please don't send me
custody
fake
rules.
roses.
I just think
Thank
it's
you, no, for the
imperative
real
that
ones.
The SEC refrain from applying the proposal to CFTC regulated markets, and I hope that you'll be able to commit to that, even if it means perhaps at some point withdrawing the rule entirely. Now, second question. The Commission has also recently proposed a rule regarding the use of predictive data analytics used by broker-dealers and investment advisors.
The AI that's going to kill our lives.
net over what is considered a covered technology. And I quote directly from the rule. A covered technology
Hello,
is
Moby.
defined as
Hello,
an
Moby
analytical,
Rick. Welcome.
technological, computational,
Thank you for all the love,
function,
guys. Please send me more love.
algorithm,
Spam the chat with
model,
love.
correlation matrix, or singular method of process that optimizes, predicts, guides,
Aw, you sent me
forecasts,
$1 of
or
love.
directs
I hope that's not
investment-related
fake. I'm
behaviors
hoping
or
that's not
outcomes.
fake.
What a mouthful. The included economic analysis
He's very bothersome. This guy does not answer any questions. He's a bull rider, but I don't see the fierceness in this, bro. Where's the fierceness? Guys, Bitcoin is taking a dip. I'm not happy. I'm freaking out.
Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you. You're welcome.
Heart, 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 rose, 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 rose.
That made me happy. That made me happy. See, Creighton, I'm not sure if that was real. I think that's real. I think that's 98% real. And on the other hand, Mr. Yeehaw, I don't know. I think that was real love. I want to say that was real. I'm going to say that was 50%. No, G, make it rain. We're raining love. Guys, please send me more love. I'm anxious. Gary, look at Gary. He's just smiling. Let's listen to little Gary.
Of
Little
the
Gary
investing
Winkle.
public. That's the
Like a
core
little periwinkle.
of
He's a
this
Gary Winkle.
proposal.
I'd simply add that given the rapid advances in machine learning and generative AI, the United States should lead the way in the development of innovative technologies that would unlock new economic opportunities.
Thank you, Scottish,
Be careful
Doug,
not to be
Frank,
so hostile to new
All
technologies
track.
that we stop innovation in
Michael.
its tracks. With that, I'll simply say thank you, Mr. Chairman, and to
Okay, good.
Mr. Chairman.
Lazarus.
I spent 7 weeks being calm and at home. I've not been that calm and that long at home since 1986. I'm happy to be back with all of you, and with you, Mr. Chairman. You
Oh,
back.
God, what a freaking
Well, Frank, we're happy to
piss-
have you back. And as a former chair of two, current chair of one and a former chair of another committee, we honored the
Ricardo,
old
Gary
bulls.
needs some
And I missed
sense
the ranking
smacked
member,
into him
too.
by Will Smith. All he has to say is
Well,
his
now,
wife's name, and
recognize
that's it.
another ranking member of full committee, Mr. Meeks in New York for 5 minutes.
Oh,
Thank you, Mr.
Lord.
Chairman. And thank you, Chairman Gensler,
Chairman
for
Gensler.
appearing before us today. Over the course of the last few
Gensler.
months, I've had the opportunity to both ask the SEC's Director of the Division of Economic and Risk Analysis and the Director of the Division of Investment Management about the private funds rules. In particular, I've asked about revisiting the economic analysis to ensure that it adequately considered the disparate impact on emerging minority and women-owned asset management firms, minority and women-owned businesses, and historically underinvested communities. Dr. Wachter assured me that the SEC shared
Dr.
my
Wachter.
concerns, and Director Birdthistle testified that the economic impact analysis was expanded to look into these concerns. So my question to you is, can you confirm that the economic analysis was expanded? And if so, can you speak to the specific changes that were made in response to the findings from that expanded analysis?
Dr. Whack!
The rule, as other rules do,
That was great. That
considers
sounded
the
crazy.
effect on small businesses. And in this rule, particularly, the economic analysis looked about small businesses, including those that are women-owned and minority-owned, investment advisors running private funds.
So I would like to follow up on that, but I got so many questions I want to ask you because it is really important about to get more details of what those findings were. But I'll ask you more about that in writing and get a response, because I want to shift to a related issue that I find to be disturbing. On page 553 of the private funds rules, the commission seems to seriously suggest that smaller investment advisors, who we know are likely to be predominantly minority and women-owned, consider reducing their assets under management to avoid registering with the SEC
Here's the thing, like, we even see that there's bias. They're talking about women-owned businesses, minority-owned businesses. So do you guys see all the bias that's in the traditional financial system? Like, who does what, who does where? Like, why can't we all just have businesses? Why can't we all be equal? Why do people have to watch for, like, you know, I just don't understand. That's why we need crypto, is that everybody, it doesn't matter where you came from, who you are, it just matters that you could get involved, and we're all on this even playing field. When you're in the traditional financial system, there is no even playing field.
Noted and you just read, there are often some firms, whether it's in a rule like this or other rules, that are right at a cutoff point, you know, where they might be registered and regulated and not, that they make different choices. But overall, this rule is actually really helpful because it promotes competition and
Mr.
transparency.
Yeehaw, just grab a
The biggest
horse.
fund
What are you doing with the
managers would have to
Maserati?
provide greater transparency to their investors, and the smaller asset managers can actually benefit from that greater transparency and competition around the side letters that they might be cutting with large asset pension funds and the like. So it's really a balancing of these economic considerations. It was pro-capital formation, it was pro-investor because it promotes transparency in the middle of the market, that asset managers would have transparency about their fees, their performance, and the so-called side letters that they enter into.
Hi, Zippy.
Well, I just have problems with it because it seems to me, again, you're telling these asset managers to not grow, not to continue to build where they can do more because of the people that they serve. So it's an issue for me, but of which I'll follow up on. You know, under your leadership, the SEC has been
We need that money flow on the 15-minute.
Incredibly active, and I'll leave it to others to discuss the pace and the breadth of the commission's rulemaking. But what I wonder is whether or not the
Guys,
SEC
we just dipped out of oversold on the 15-minute.
rules will interact with existing
We're in neutral.
and draft rules during the rulemaking process, particularly when it comes to economic impact of the finalized and pending rules. And do you think there would be any value to doing a whole holistic analysis?
Guys, let's get 200 likes. Smash the likes. Share the stream out with friends. People need to know what's going on.
Runs between 100 and 250 pages. Each of those considers other rules that may have been adopted and adjusts the baseline.
I know,
each of
Diesel.
those analyses.
We'll now recognize the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Sessions, for 5 minutes.
Ooh,
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. And
This
I
might get
appreciate
good.
the gentleman, my friend, Mr. Meeks, for his
See a part of the
conversation
seat-
with Chairman.
the
Chairman,
move with
welcome once
Tom
again
Emmer.
to the committee.
Good to see you, sir.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, I think that there's a lot of happy talk and smiling that takes place from you and your agency as they come up here and they try and talk about two principles of listening to stakeholders and industry participation, and yet I think you're hearing across this committee a wish that we could have a better relationship with you and your entire organization. And we have prodded them, sent letters, done everything nice that you can do, and yet we show up here and we find a way to provide feedback. We'd like to sincerely turn that around. As you know, you and I spoke a couple of years ago about an issue that still is unresolved because the SEC would not even let this firm know what their problem was. And you told me it will take at least 214 days because that's how long it takes us before we're able to turn issues around when your Fort Worth office
The old
already knew
system,
the
that's why,
answer.
Mr. Sessions, because this is
And,
old.
I think it's this kind of
This whole hearing
of
is
action
old.
on behalf of the SEC that causes members of Congress to react the way we do. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to turn to an issue. Last November, the SEC announced a massive increase in enforcement fines, $6.4 billion in 22, up from $3.8 billion in 21. And you have launched a regulatory crusade against the financial service industry through enforcement. You've told us that. We see this. Can you please tell me what the money from these enforcement actions, what you've done with it, and where that money goes?
Where does that money go,
First, sir,
Gary?
if I may, I think the matter you talked to me about a week or so ago, we filed a civil litigated matter against that company. So I think that's all a matter of public record.
Well, then I've learned that now, thank you. But for the 2 years prior to that, there was attempt to be resolution, and you even blocked that company from their counsel, who was very capable from engaging in that, knowing what that was, to where they could have corrected that.
Where does the money
or
go,
found
Gary?
a way to work with it, because
Where does the
it
money
put
go?
At least $50
And that's why they hate
million
blockchain, guys. That's why they hate the
directly at risk.
blockchain.
Mr. Chairman, can you explain where the money from these enforcement penalties is winding up?
There's a number of places. Much of it goes into what's called fair funds. Congress helped set up a process where the public can actually get money back. Those that are harmed can get money back. And some of the penalties and so forth go into the U.S. Treasury.
What a joke!
Some in fair funds and back to those that have been hurt, but some, of course, also into the U.S. Treasury.
What a lie!
So the SEC takes the money in, follows the laws that have been established, and that is...
Yeah, we're funded separately. Of course, we're appropriated,
do
and
know
then we're
that.
funded by fees that are fees on transactions.
Lies, lies,
I just
lies.
wanted to make sure that it's...
Why is
it's
Bitcoin
as a
dumping
result
if
of what
Gary said
Congress
earlier
has
that Bitcoin
established
wasn't a
with the fair
security?
funds about what they would do with that money. Your testimony today is that's what you've done with the $6.4
Thank you,
billion.
SAS Finance. That's very cute.
Not all of it,
Get
sir.
it.
Well, then
Get
please
it.
tell me what
We can-
add a comma and add the rest.
No, we can follow up with the details because of that six.
I am interested
So
in following
why
up
is
the
Bitcoin
details,
dumping
and
if
I
Gary
would
said
ask
earlier it
that,
wasn't a security?
Your staff.
Because Bitcoin is
accept, just
emotional.
like,
She's like a girl.
Congressman
You know,
Lucas sends a staff, and
she
your
gets
staff knows,
emotional.
"Oh, we
She
got a
gets
letter
out of
from
pocket.
Congressman
That's why.
Lucas, let's respond very quickly here. I'd like to send you a
Well,
letter today
yeah.
asking
Also,
for
there
those
wasn't that much
details.
volume
Thank you.
coming in.
The actual
would-
I think this
breakdown is
could
a
just
matter
be
of
a
public
false
record. We
dip
put it on
if
our- in
we
our
want. Like
financials each
it could be
year.
a
I
false
just don't
dip.
have
You
it
never know.
memorized.
It could. We could bounce back.
That's fair. I would not either.
But Bitcoin is not a security. He did say that. That is
Mr.
true.
Chairman, we really, I think, would like to, on a bipartisan basis up here, have better interaction with your organization, with you.
Listen, they say something good about Bitcoin, it dumps. They say something bad about Bitcoin, it dumps. Because Bitcoin does what it wants when it wants. And people expect, again, he said it's not a security for it to pump. That's when Bitcoin gets you. That's when Bitcoin gets you. Always have your bullish and a bearish case scenario. Thank you, Diglitz.
Yields back. The gentleman from Georgia, Mr. Scott's recognized for 5 minutes.
Yo, where's Tom?
Thank you very
MR?
much. First of all, Chair Gensler,
Oh, God, this guy needs to go
I
home.
agree with our ranking member, Ms. Waters. I believe you're doing an excellent job. Excuse my cold. An excellent job at a very difficult and challenging time facing our economy and especially our securities markets. On July 12th, my good Republican friend, Congressman Frank Lucas, and I sent you a follow-up letter.
Emma Holcoiner. Oh, really?
These proposed rule regarding the impact
This guy needs to
of
go take a nap.
publicly disclosing proprietary
Peter V, I am emotional and I can't help it.
in large security-based swaps above certain reporting thresholds.
This guy sounds like he needs to narrate my bedtime stories. Yes, that's actually true. He's like that narrator that starts off the movie like a fairy tale. You know, 100 years ago, when this fairy princess met the prince.
Market liquidity and hinder the SEC's core mission.
Do you really
to
love my emotions? I
maintain
don't believe you.
fair and orderly and efficient markets. So my question to you is...
Please ask the question.
First, I know you have previously said you understood the law to require some public availability of this sensitive information.
Oh my God, I'm
But
actually gonna freaking cry. I cannot listen to this man. We're looking at Bitcoin. Guys, Bitcoin is still in the neutral zone. It seems like the RSI wants to pick up here. She's slapping us in the face. We had a dump here just now with Bitcoin, and we're trying to bounce back up. This is the 15-minute. The volume doesn't look too snazzy coming in, guys. I'm gonna say she doesn't look too snazzy. The money flow is still in the green, though. Seems like it's heading down, but the VWAP wants to go up. So we're going to see if these two converge. Oh, bye, David. Hi, Morty. Listen, guys, this is very, very frustrating. I'm watching this. Why is Bitcoin dumping? Because she's emotional. She's emotional. And you know what? There were people like Tom Emmer, Rep Mike Flood, Richie Torres, Wiley Nickel, all saying that the SEC's got to approve this ETF. So I want to hear what they have to say. But it seems like we keep going to these boring people that literally say, Gary Gensler, you're the best, which I don't understand because all he says is nothing. Nothing. It does make me emotional because we are relying on these people for some freaking reason to help run our country, to help run our economic part of the world, which is one of the biggest parts of our economy. And we just can't get answers. Gary Gensler just sits there. He laughs. He just sits there and laughs. I'm frustrated. I'm going to say frustrado. What's going on?
Now, let me ask you this question.
Oh, gosh.
Do you see...
This is better than them.
Pizza, slice of pizza, on me to help recover from this crap show of a hearing.
Listen, thank you. I appreciate it. Listen, Josh, hype for Josh in the chat. Josh V comes through, and he's just always beautiful. Pamp it up for him. Am I messed up? No. Thank you. Pizza on you. I appreciate that. That's I think $20 or 22 is a pie now. So that should be good. Thank you. I appreciate that. Buy some pizza for the family when YouTube decides to give that to me. Oh gosh, Gary.
Times there's somebody that had an advantage of the opacity. So when I was on Wall Street, we used to have a saying a little bit at the firm I was at, that darkness was our friend.
Darkness.
And it was about sometime opacity helps make more money as a dealer. But it's not necessarily the case. You're welcome.
Hucksters, fraudsters, cue the audio.
Hucksters, fraudsters, scam artists, Ponzi schemes.
There it is. Just for you, Justin. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Thank you to Justin for the 20. What is he saying? What is Gary saying? I don't get it. Oh, there's transparency. There's so many good things about the SEC. What are you talking about? They ask you, where does the money go? Oh, some of it goes to the U.S. Treasury. Some of it goes to the people that got hurt. I've never heard of the SEC saying that they're sending out a check to people that lost money. Where's all the people that lost money from FTX? Meanwhile, the IRS wants to take money before the creditors and the debtors do. So where is the help? Where is the real help from the SEC? Where is the money that they supposedly give back to people when we know they had record funding of $2.4 billion in May that they got extra to go after crypto? Gary, this is ridiculous, and we should not be standing for this anymore. This hearing is old. 5 minutes per person for them to ask the question and for him to answer it. They take 2.5 minutes to even get their thoughts together. This is old. This is an old system. They should ask the questions within 5 minutes, have their time starts and stops when they stop the question. I am frustrated.
Court cases in the early 20 years ago or so, we updated our guidance to ensure that we followed Congress's mandate. So we do economic analysis, again, sometimes measuring in a couple hundred pages.
Oh, Gary's in the chat.
Every one of our releases, we get feedback.
Oh, Gary, you don't want the smoke.
And then we adjust, we modify.
They adjust,
the
they
Inspector
modify.
General's wrong. You don't need to do any further analysis.
Hi, Slack.
Well, in fact, we
Nerd
do
Beast.
need to do analysis because Congress mandated it. It's called, we have to analyze the efficiency, the competition, and
Family Pizza Lunch Fund. Don't let Emma eat the whole pie.
Oh, Anonymous. Oh, Mr. Anonymous. I love Mr. Anonymous. Mr. Anonymous is awesome. Thank you for giving us the pizza fund. I appreciate it. So we have a pizza from Josh when YouTube decides to give me 30% of that. No, 70%. They take 30. And now I have most of it from Mr. Anonymous. So I can actually go actionably, go get us pizza today. Thank you. Mr. Anonymous, I'm happy he's a neutral third party in a rebellion.
And so forth.
That's so sweet. My
We
heart is so
updated
warm
how
right
we
now.
did this, and we followed guidance that's been in place since 2012. So I think I'm the fourth chair that, we're following the similar guidance for 11 years now.
So does the commission assess and analyze cumulative economic impacts
12
of the
more
rules
likes
that
for
it
200.
makes
Can we make it, guys?
and the interrelationship with other agencies?
We analyze in each one a baseline, as I mentioned.
No, G said, MTC, it's 10 a.m. Do I know where my noodle is? No, I lost it. I thought I found it this morning, and then I went on the stream, and I lost it again. Because Gary Gensler keeps starting problems. And he's in the chat, too. Gary, what's your problem? Why are you texting me while you're supposed to be working?
In your
Oh,
climate
John Legend, thank you. I really enjoyed this dress. It has pockets. Hi, Safa Kid.
ESG-directed investments also disclose the risks they face from favorable regulations not materializing or climate subsidies drying up or slowing down.
The proposal is really to capture the risks that investors want to understand. The proposal was about
Gary said that if I get too emotional, then I lose my noodle. That's a security.
reality. We're not a climate regulator. We're really
I don't understand. They're like, oh, Bitcoin's bad for the environment. We should regulate it. But then he said he's not a climate regulator. So what is it, Gary?
Representing tens of trillions of dollars of assets today are making investment decisions. And I'll share a statistic with you.
Hi, Chill.
Of the Russell 1000, the top 1,000
Leroy.
companies in the U.S., 81% currently make climate risk disclosures.
Oh my gosh, I'm
57%
actually going to lose my mind of what this climate stuff. 26-2, we're bouncing back, guys. Pamp it up. Guys, we're bouncing back. It seems like we hit like kind of almost the low of this range right here. This little tiny tight range that we have right here, 25-1. It seems like we're bouncing back. We need to get back to this level, 26-7, guys. Pamp it up. The bulls, buy your Bitcoin right now. Buy your Bitcoin. Bulls, buy the Bitcoins. Pamp us up to infinity. Inverse
we can to
Gary.
stay within the laws as Congress had passed it and how courts interpret
Thank
them.
you, Trade.
We're familiar with the case, the Supreme Court case. It's the law of the land that you mentioned. And we take a very close look at that to ensure that when we finalize rules,
Exactly.
it's within the laws.
Exactly,
and how the courts
SAS.
interpret it.
Over
Are
50%
you
of
trying to
renewable
resolve any of those
energy
major
is
questions at this
Bitcoin
time?
mining.
Well, I would broaden it out, sir. It's like any time the Supreme within our authorities.
Gentleman's time's expired.
Thank you.
We'll now recognize the gentleman from Missouri, Mr. Cleaver, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Chairman Gensler, for being here today. I'm one of those people who
You guys don't hear the
believe that,
volume?
there is such a thing as
It's probably
climate
because the
change.
sound was playing.
And
Yeah, you guys are good.
the scientists, I agree with the scientists, I guess.
You're all right, Jay.
Most of the warming that we are experiencing actually
Yeah,
took
our
place
volume
over
is
the
good.
last 40 years. And the last 9 years are the warmest temperatures that we've had since modern keeping of the weather temperatures.
This guy's going to take 5 minutes
And,
to ask one freaking question.
I'm from Kansas City, Missouri. The Missouri
That's
is
dog,
the
oh my
second
gosh.
longest water system in North America. Waterheads up in Montana, snakes its way all the way through Missouri and then meets up with the Mississippi in St. Louis. It goes through 7 states, and the only reason I'm mentioning that
Oh, Gary in the chat.
is that we are experiencing all kinds of events along the Missouri River system.
Hi, Anthony.
We had droughts, floodings are becoming more volatile, and weather
8 more likes for
events are
200.
becoming
Pamp it
more
up.
extreme in impacting the Missouri
Oh my
River.
God, this guy is crazy freaking
and
boring.
This
Okay. 26-2. Oh my gosh, pamp it, pamp it, pamp it. The whales are popping in. They're pamping. They got the volume coming in. That's cool. That's cool. Go whales. And we have, we have that money flow. Seems like RSI is spiking. Let's double check there. Yup. The guys, the RSI is bouncing off that neutral zone. Oh my gosh. Get after it. Freaking get after it, RSI. You get after it, RSI. You kill it, RSI.
dependability. So I was pleased that March.
The RSI? Pump the RSI.
last
Don't
year,
you know? Pump it
the
up.
SEC released the proposed rule to require public companies to make a variety of quantitative and qualitative disclosures regarding climate.
Gary said he's the youngest on the floor. Might be. M2 real speed reader.
of economic interest in the United States that you think would be immune immune from climate risk.
What is this climate? What does this have to do with money?
Well, we may not be dealing with it as
What does
powerfully
climate
as
have to
we
do with
should.
money? Can someone answer that to me?
But are there any exemptions that you can think of that would companies or corporations would not be impacted, or they're not, or not being impacted today?
Again, I
He doesn't even know what
understand
he
your views.
asked.
We're not a climate regulator.
I understand.
We're just, it's a matter of investors making investment choices. And
Even if I
for
was Gary, I'd
some
be like, what did you
companies,
just ask me?
Investors are getting disclosures, and we're trying to bring some comparability to that disclosures. Some companies, it's viewed as material, and
I'm
some
so
companies
confused.
it's not. That's an important distinction, of course. But there's so many different sectors and so many different industries in this country, and we're merit neutral, but we're not disclosure neutral. And right now, 80+% of the top 1,000 companies are already making disclosures. It's really on our responsibility to bring some consistency and comparability for investors to get
Yeah, what did he say? Like, there was no question there.
Yes, I'm not suggesting that you are the EPA or, some kind of
animal, for
climatologist.
sure.
I'm just wanting to make sure that the SEC continues.
Mr. Cleaver needs a freaking bottle of Gatorade or something. He needs a Red Bull. Like, this is ridiculous. People in our government should be hype. They should be like, let's get after it. Let's make sure we have a good conversation today, guys. Let's make sure we get these answers. But no, everybody's old and asleep. This is ridiculous.
This information decision useful, and they would benefit from more consistency and comparability in the information they're frankly already receiving. So that's what we're focused on.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Gentleman's time's expired.
He does need a
We'll now
bacon, egg, and
recognize the
cheese.
gentleman from Missouri, the chair of the National Security Subcommittee, Mr. Lukemeyer, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chairman Gensler, my good colleague here, Mr. Cleaver, and I wrote to you in May regarding SEC's Conflicts of Interest Reproposed Rule, number 192, Prohibition Against Conflicts of Interest in Certain
Hi, Robert Curry.
certifications, and our concerns about the potential treatment of mortgage insurance-linked notes. Now, our letter was filed under the bulk of all comment letters, and the first sentence asked for you to that we're requesting a clarification of the language that's in your rule. So we're disappointed with the interpretation of our letter, which is pretty plain from the standpoint we'd like to have an answer. But the mortgage insurers are a significant source of private capital in the housing and finance.
That's what I'm saying. Like, not that I'm saying they should be all pamped up, Peter. But you see what Jag is saying? Like, yeah, like they're freaking sleeping over here. They should have more energy if they really care. Like, what's happening? Get the answers, yes or no. Like, what is happening here?
Well, I think there are other agencies that are responsible
5 more likes,
there,
guys.
but
Let's pamp it.
certainly our role at the SEC is facilitates a mortgage market. We oversee, I don't know, 11 or 13 trillion dollar
SAS, that sounds like a
mortgage
great breakfast.
securitization market, and what we are trying to do in that market, like other markets, is drive for greater efficiency and, as you say, opportunity for homeowners.
Well, the question is, can you be a partner with the private sector? So in other words, with reinsurance for these companies is very important to be able to allow the reduction, well, the spread of risk, and then, of course, the reduction of cost. The question is pretty simple. Would you support something like that?
I think that, if I understand the question, that mortgage originators rely also on mortgage insurance. That's an important part of it. That I agree. That's an important part of the market.
Okay. In our letter, we say that the rulemaking may unintentionally prohibit private insurers from procuring reinsurance via the capital.
Exactly. Like, why don't we talk about money? Like, this is like not what, like, they're talking about climate. They're talking about all these crazy things. Josh, you didn't have to do that. I was waiting for like the delayed gratification, you know, the delayed pizza. Thank you for the $20. You're amazing, Josh. You really didn't have to do that. Thank you. Freaking Josh, man. Josh, here's a hug to you, man. Hugs to Josh, man. So much love for Josh. What the frick? He literally just hooked me up. Oh my gosh, that light. You literally just hooked me up. Thank you so much. So sweet, so sweet. I'm like so grateful for you. Man, yes, I know it's muted. I'm going back to it. I'm going back. I'm going back.
Here, in 2022, the PCAOB inspection reports of mainland China and Hong Kong accounting firms, which audit
Is it too loud? Let me know if it's too loud.
were scathing and a reminder that financial statements
Tyler, we're
produced by
crashing.
CCP-controlled companies should never be trusted. Both
Guys, let me
reports show
know
unacceptable rates
if
of
the
Part
everything
1,
is good, if the stream is going for you.
deficiencies, which are deficiencies so large that PCAOB staff believe the audit firm failed to obtain sufficient audit evidence to support its work on the public company's financial statements. Essentially, the audits were useless. Is it correct that under the Holding Foreign Companies Act, Accountable Act, these two firms, which fail so spectacularly, will not be inspected again by the PCAOB for another 2 to 3 years?
I'm not familiar enough with the PCAOB's rotating schedule, but it is accurate that when the PCAOB goes in to inspect an auditing firm in any country,
2 more likes.
They sometimes aren't able, they don't have the staff to go in on an annual basis.
Well, you know, the premise is correct there, where they only have to do it every 2 or 3 years. And so Mr. Sherman and I have introduced a piece of bipartisan legislation that require them to have an annual audit. These are very, as we saw in 2020, there were 1,000 companies on the exchange. Now it's down between 250 and 300. A lot of them are shell companies, and when we're threatening an audit, suddenly they disappeared. The funneling of our capital to Chinese companies and / the Chinese government and Communist Party has got to stop. And so we would appreciate your support for something like that. And
give Mr. Yeehaw the love, Kyle.
just a quick comment, yes or no?
Look, I think it's really important. If somebody wants to issue stock in the U.S., they need to comply with their laws.
Gentleman's time's
particularly
expired.
China, that's very important.
Ice God, that is true. I did say that, and it
Gentleman
is
yields
true.
back. The chair now recognizes the gentleman from Connecticut, Mr. Himes, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thanks for
China.
joining us today, Mr. Chairman. I want to talk with you for 3 minutes or so about my ongoing efforts to codify insider trading into law, but I do want to take a minute here, since we're on the verge of a government shutdown, to just see how that affects you and your organization.
Look how everyone left.
It's sort of taken for granted around here that a shutdown is going to occur because my friends on the other side of the aisle can't find the coherence to pass a rule on the floor, much less do what we know needs to be done to avoid a shutdown, which is to pass a bipartisan continuing resolution.
Yes, true.
The Senate has figured that out. They're working on that. We'll figure that out eventually. In the meantime, to demonstrate the importance of doing that, we are going to shut down the government because of some MAGA extremists. Now, we get asked all the time about the very visible stuff, will be treated in the next couple of weeks to the sight of 19-year-old Marines and sailors lining up at food banks because they don't know that they're getting paid. SBA will be shut down. They will not be able to lend to small businesses, and those small businesses may go under. As we could go on with all the public stuff, but you lead an organization that has an awful lot of people who could be making a lot more money at a bank or at a law firm.
What is the point of staking
who are going
rewards?
to be told that
Oh my
they're
God, what's
inessential,
happening?
who may be furloughed. So let me just give you a minute or so here. I'm curious, even though it's not going to make headlines.
Why is this?
What would a shutdown do to morale and
Why
capability
are they talking about
inside the
morale?
Securities Exchange
Like, where's the
Commission?
money?
It's a
Where's the
remarkable
money?
dedicated staff, but we're looking at probably 90 to 93% of our staff will be furloughed. So we'll be down to skeletal 7-8% of our staff. In terms of what it would do for morale, I think that history shows, because we had one of these in 18 and 35 days at that point in time, that it's hard on people.
Gary,
It's
where
hard
does the
because
money
they're
go?
not getting a paycheck. It's hard because, as you rightly say, they can get jobs at law firms and elsewhere and go, and they're just really dedicated public servants. In terms of the markets, I would say if a company were deciding to go public or raise offerings, they'd want to go effective before Friday if they're ready to. If not, they might be in a sort of subliminal state where they can't access the markets because we can't effectively review
Gary
those.
has the
Let me
Lambo.
redirect you for a second to, okay, companies raising capital, but your SEC is a whipping boy, you know that. But the truth is, the organization is full of people who are out there prosecuting fraud, who are stopping insider trading. Are we going to see, if there is a meaningful shutdown, fraud go unprosecuted, insider trading? You won't have the capacity to address these things, which hurt the American public, correct?
Thank you.
While somebody can still file a tip, complaint, and referral, somebody can file a whistleblower, there won't be the people on the other side to really review it and investigate it.
Thank you. Okay,
So everyone
speaking
can
of
still
insider
insider
trading, Mr.
trade,
Chairman,
guys?
I want to just briefly discuss with you something I've worked on for 7 years right now, which, as you know, is trying to define insider trading in law. It's not defined in
I
law
want a
today,
Lambo
as you
too.
know, and as a result, we
Hi,
have
Javier.
court-made law, Newman, Solomon, Martoma, overturning each other, creating a great deal of uncertainty, prosecutions being overturned, convictions being overturned, a great deal of uncertainty. I'm a believer in this idea that if we're going to send somebody for jail, we should be very clear about why we are doing that. So I'd love to get a minute or
Literally,
so
they're
from
planning
you,
on
Mr.
ignoring
Chairman.
insider trading.
Where
This is
are
too
we?
good.
Would we benefit from a codified statute on insider trading law? Would that remove some of the uncertainty and remove some of the chance that the courts will overturn your traditional activities?
Carlos Diaz has the Lambo. Carlos Diaz is probably
I think that we've
on the
had
Senate,
the benefit
on this
of
committee.
the agency of robust, as you said, largely court-made law from the 1980s on, and you referenced some cases even in the last 6-7 years. But I think we've provided you and other members, if I remember,
Gary's got the Lambo.
technical assistance on a legislative package that you had last year, if I recall.
NTC stock, that's a security.
Almost made it into the NDAA, if I recall. But again, I think that we
Hi, Skipping
have
Stones,
good,
Voltino.
robust authorities, but the technical assistance, I recall, supported that bill. It supported the.
So everyone that sits on this
what you were
committee
trying to
will
achieve.
gain a few
But
million
ideally,
dollars
and I
in
think
their
you
net
gave us this
worth
technical assistance,
while the
if we
government
could
is shut
preserve
down.
those authorities that are legacy authorities, if you will, but if we could.
That was the key, that we didn't want to in any way lose the authorities that all the way up to the Supreme Court that we had had.
Right, right. But I see you nodding. If we could codify a definition of insider trading and reduce some of the risk of
No, they don't,
overturning
John.
of case-made law, that might, in the long run, simplify your task and create confidence in the markets.
Ringo.
Great.
Yeah, I think and again, we should follow up with staff, but our major concern was that we not somehow undo some of the really good law that's in place.
Gentleman's
Thank you,
time's
Mr.
expired.
Gary
Gentleman
smiles.
yields back.
Bye.
The chair now recognizes herself for 5 minutes. Chair Gensler, while you were a professor at MIT, you spoke at length about how technology could be used to democratize finance. In fact, in a lecture quoted in a podcast entitled Paying It Forward with FinTech with Professor Gary Gensler, you stated, and I quote, "What I was drawn to at MIT was this sense that maybe we can democratize capitalism a bit more, that we can use technology to make finance more inclusive and more accessible to many more millions of people in our country and many more hundreds of millions of people around the globe. Now, sir, as chair of the SEC, you've put forward a predictive data analytics proposal that jeopardizes the innovation and technology that's made investing available to millions more Americans than ever before. I'm confused. At which Gary Gensler, the American public, should believe? The academic version, who spoke glowingly about the power of technology to help more investors participate in U.S. and global capital markets, or the SEC version, who apparently thinks all use of any technology by broker-dealers and investment advisors is inherently conflicted, and firms should just stop using technology altogether. Chair Gensler, could you please briefly explain this change in your views?
I thank you for the question, a clever question. It's the same Gary Gensler. It's not my identical twin brother, Rob, or anything. It's me. And I believe technology is so transformative. I think artificial intelligence, machine learning is so transforming this decade and so forth. I think robo-advisors and brokerage apps, whether they're using these new technologies or some of the older predictive data analytics, just stand by that basic concept that the investor is first, not the investment advisor is first. That's all.
We agree there, and this proposal fails to acknowledge the already existing and well-functioning SEC regulations, such as Regulation Best Interest, Reg BI, and the fiduciary standard that protects investors. I would really urge you to withdraw this regulation, as we already have this in place. And during your last appearance in front of this committee, I asked you, sir, if you were planning to rewrite Regulation Best Interest, Reg BI, and you said that it was not currently on your agenda. However, the Commission's proposal on conflicts of interest associated with the use of predictive data analytics effectively rewrites Reg BI by holding broker-dealers and investment advisors to a higher standard of conduct and conflict neutralization than Reg BI. Were you intentionally withholding your plans to supersede Reg BI, sir, with a new proposal when you testified in April?
I feel the same as I did in April. I think this doesn't change Regulation Best Interest or the fiduciary interpretation. This does build on them in an important area around using predictive data analytics. If a function, an optimization function, it's a little bit of a math thing, but if the math is basically putting the investment advisor's interest ahead of the investors, if it's making a recommendation or it's giving a nudge, a behavioral nudge to steer somebody somewhere, therein lies a conflict. That's what we're trying to do.
It's too broad. I mean, we don't even know what technology would be applied here. And at the core, Reg BI has a fiduciary standard, the best interest, that is already there. You are now superseding that, and it's not just duplicative, it throws out potentially the fiduciary rule in Reg BI. So I again would encourage you, and I think we have bipartisan support to withdraw this rule just as soon as possible. And let me just ask you this question, since I have a limited time. How many staff, because this was a question I sent you that we haven't received response, how many staff with the Division of Trading and Markets and Division Investment Management and the Division of Economic and Risk Analysis were actively involved in drafting the predictive data analytics proposal?
Burn?
I don't have a number, but I would say that generally speaking.
Do they have advanced degrees in computer science, data science, or engineering, sir?
A number of them have advanced degrees in economics and computer science, but I don't know how many of them do.
Oh, Burn.
Well, I've sent you a list of questions. I'd love to have those answers. My time's expired.
Right, Burn in the chat.
Chair now recognizes the gentleman from
Burn.
Illinois, Mr. Foster, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I want to thank our witness for staying up until 9:30 p.m. to accept and analyze the just-in-time delivery of our bipartisan letter with 16 Republicans and 16 Dems. on it that French Hill and I prepared. I want to make sure that you understand what the meaning of that letter is. It is not that you should stop working on the market reforms in parallel with 605 upgrades. Our intention is that you actually get the 605 done so that you have upgraded reporting of quality of order execution and so on, and have that in place so you can have a look at the data, then finalize the market reforms and watch, hopefully, the quality of order execution improve. And so just the meaning of the letter is to sequence those in that way, but not to cease all work on planning and so on of the market structure reforms. So just please read that, the end of the first paragraph carefully. One of the reasons it was late is we did a certain amount of wordsmithing to get that right. So, and I also want to comment a little bit on, you were on, it was on your shift when we had the flash crash, right? And you were running the CFTC during the flash crash. And I remember when we had a hearing maybe 4 days afterward, the CFTC had, the night of the flash crash, 30 people with the entire trading history with that on their laptops figuring out what the heck happened. And 4 days later, the SEC, which did not have a consolidated audit trail-like structure in place, was still collecting the data.
The RSI is
to figure out
still
what the
in
heck happened.
bullish
And
territory.
so I think that is why we should
on the
not
15
lose
minute.
sight of making the consolidated
Seems like we're
audit
making a
trail,
nice move.
a success and really
Unless
do
it's
it.
a cup and
I think
handle in the
that's
wrong
a separate
direction.
discussion from the beneficial owner and cybersecurity issues there. And in particular, last time,
I
one
hope
of the
it's not a
ways
cup and
that I
handle in the
raised
wrong
with you last time
direction.
we were in front of
That's
our committee here,
I'm hoping not.
I would ask you about the possibility of actually using the consolidated
All
audit
right, let's get
trail,
that volume. Let's
to
get this money
simplify
flow.
much of the reporting requirements
Come on,
under Rule
guys.
605,
Pimp it
so
up.
that instead of making a requirement of every one of the billions of
Bitcoin, pimp it up. You
companies
know
that
you
would have
want to
to do
pimp it up.
that you'd simply use the fact that the consolidated audit trail has the information necessary to make a public report of quality of order execution for the different brokerages. That you could simply have either FINRA or some competent private subcontractor like S3 or similar, just have them write a piece of software that is run that provides this report based on the consolidated audit trail. This would actually relieve the regulatory burden on a lot of the market participants and get something that was guaranteed to be, an apples to apples, well-defined comparison of the order of the quality of order execution. Have you had time since we spoke on this to have put thought into that idea and see if that
Mr. Yeehaw, if you ask me for financial advice ever again, it's war.
One, I want to compliment you on your excellent memory of 13
Hamsters,
years ago.
tradesters, and shortsters.
was
Yes,
seared in
Chris
pain.
Enrique, you understand
that?
us here.
it was seared in pain when
Seared in
it's
pain.
like
But
remembering
it was
a car
the
accident.
very next morning that the CFTC had all that information, and the SEC did not. In terms of
All you need is
you're
Doge.
raising
That's
an
what Retro
idea
said. All you
as
need
to
is Doge.
whether
Made
the
me think of that.
consolidated audit
All you need is Doge. Doge. Doge is all you need. Do 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 do.
it's possible that technologists could figure and sort that through. That in and of itself would raise costs and benefits as well. And as everybody has encouraged us to always look at cost and benefits, I would just say currently market participants, brokers,
All
can
you need is
quantify their
love.
order quality.
Gary needs
That's what
some
this
love.
Rule
That's
605
right, but then you have to
measures.
make sure it's an apples-to-apples comparison. They will have an incentive to not quite, if there's an ambiguity, they will resolve it in favor of making their numbers look good. You're going to have some of your employees looking over that. Whereas if you just say, okay, find a competent entity, like S3 seems to have a pretty good market share of doing that already, or FINRA, to just write one piece of software, make it public, run that piece of software on the consolidated audit trail so that everyone understand exactly what numbers are being reported.
Mark said
The one thing
DigiByte.
is the
Yes, we love
consolidated
DigiByte on this
audit
channel.
trail, does not capture and compare, the orders, like you bought something on a Tuesday. or
Robert
you put
Gensler, you
I'm
guys
sorry,
really
put
want
an
me to look
order
this
in
up?
and here's the actual quality.
Okay. You guys want me to look it up? I look it up just for you. Robert Gensler. What? Is this true? No way.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is this real? No way. No. No. There's... What? Wait, Gary actually has a twin? What? No. That cannot be correct. This is true? Am I tripping right now? Like, is there... Is this true? Are you kidding me? Apparently he's a libertarian. Wait, no. Wait, I don't know if this is... No way. No way. No way. I refuse to believe there's a twin. I actually refuse to believe there's a twin of Robert Gensler.
Because you are kneecapping the U.S. capital markets with the avalanche of red tape coming out of your commission. On your climate disclosure rule proposal, you say that the SEC is merit neutral, that your focus on consistency and comparability of disclosure is not the merit of the investment. Sir, that is just not believable. The requiring Scope 3 emissions will lead to wildly inaccurate and immaterial disclosures that will be of little practical use to investors. They would also unfairly and inaccurately portray companies as major polluters that are in reality...
Double the sweetness? No.
Let's be honest. The agenda here is not to provide investors with relevant information, but instead to redirect capital away from fossil energy. Your proposal would discriminate against fossil...
I can't come close to Celine Dion.
That these
Why
disclosures are rooted in
energy
investor
still?
protection, but the largest U.S. energy exchange-traded fund
Hi, David Lee.
is up 15% over the last 3 months. It's near its highest level in 9 years. How is it protecting investors to deter investment in profitable companies?
This is not doing that, with all respect. All it is about trying to bring some comparability to disclosures being made. We're not a climate agency.
I know. I've heard you say this.
We're really not.
But let's be honest. We know what's going on. We know what's going on. You're trying to scarlet letter fossil energy.
We're not.
I know you say you're not, but we got the joke. Everybody knows what you're doing. You're trying to redirect capital away. You're trying to discriminate against fossil
financial
energy,
failure.
Notwithstanding your protests. Most American investors find all of this Scope 3 emissions nonsense and immaterial. It's immaterial. I know institutional investors talk about this, but this is about an agenda to discriminate against fossil energy, which is profitable. That's not protecting investors. That's hurting investors. It's steering them into less diversified, lower performing funds. Let me move on to the perfect storm of regulations. Let me just move on real quick. Have you consulted with Vice Chair Barr about the Basel III endgame and the interplay between what you're doing on capital markets regulation and what's happening in commercial real estate? I'm very concerned about this because Basel III will increase the cost of credit, diminish lending capacity, and undermine the role that banks play in lending and financial intermediation in commercial real estate. Have you talked to the Fed about how this interacts with conflicts of interest and securitization rule, Rule 15C211, private funds, custody rule, and others? Because I'm really worried that Basel III endgame and all of your regulatory proposals would lead to a death by 1,000 cuts for commercial real estate when we're looking at
Oh, I missed that 199 super chat. Thank you for the microphone.
over the next 3 years. And it's not just about, refinancing from 3% to now 8%. It's now the fact that Basel III and then all of the non-bank activity is going to be sidelined as a result of the interplay between Basel III and your regulations.
We have ongoing conversation with the Federal Reserve about a number of our rules, but they have the lead on Basel III. That's not something we consult with them on.
All right. Well,
Gentlemen, time's expired. I'd ask you to submit the...
It was a thanks, but it wasn't what you wanted.
The chair now recognizes the gentlewoman from Ohio, Ms. Beatty, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Chairman Gensler, for being here today. I am going to get to a question that I'd like to ask you on the proposal regarding predictive data analysis, but in light of the colorful questioning and use of language
It did not
with
end the
discrimination.
rebellion. Please don't get too hopeful, Mr. Yeehaw.
I want to ask you about the shutdown because I think my Republican colleagues are kneecapping the American people and those who serve this country and those that we took an oath to protect. And certainly, at least the last 5 government shutdowns have happened under Republican governorship. So you represent this large organization, and if there was a government shutdown, would that grind the SEC to a halt, yes or no, in your opinion?
We'd be skeletal staff.
Oh, Creighton.
And does that
Oh,
mean if
Creighton.
there was a shutdown with your approximately 4,600
Yeah, Great K, they're rambling, dude.
you would be left with maybe only 400 employees who were not furloughed?
That's correct.
And those remainder would be furloughed without pay?
Yes, that's correct. Even those that are working would be without pay.
Right. And these are hardworking American people with families and children that would considerably, in my word, be kneecapped by my Republican colleagues who have so much concern about what we're doing.
You did say something nice. I know, I'm trolling you. But I was expecting a Vampire Diaries quote. Not gonna lie.
And officers' offers of securities and surveilling the functionings and operations of capital market?
I think you could say largely the initial public offering market would be shut down with the government.
And would you say investors would be vulnerable to fraud and businesses will be deprived of their opportunity to access capital markets?
I would say that while we'll have a skeletal staff, it will be hard for us to oversee the markets.
And that's what you're charged with doing. Like we're responsible for keeping the government open and protecting the American people. You probably would agree with that. I'm not going to ask you to answer that. So now let me get
Why
on
can't
to
he answer
my
that?
question after I filled a
He
little
didn't answer anything
renewed
else.
in letting the American people know that while we're here, we can ask all kinds of questions, but if we want to talk about economic analysis, if we want to talk about threats of subpoenas,
Can we get
for
222
not being
likes for
direct,
more?
let's talk about what's happening to the American people in real time. But with that said, I'm going to give you opportunity to talk about this proposal that we've heard a lot about. I understand that the proposal is currently very broad in scope, covering the range of investor interactions, including communications through covered firms' public websites. There is concern that it could even encompass financial education tools for investors, and it could cover things such as an application that analyzes an investor's future retirement assets by changing the inputs for different mixes of assets. Can you address the concerns or take the rest of my time to talk about this proposal so we can understand it better?
Well, this is one thing I'd say.
Hi,
this
Mike
hearing
Shawshig.
comes at a timely
We're just mad at
moment
Gary
because
Gensler
the
today because he
comment
doesn't answer
period
questions.
is open until October 10th on this particular rule. But this rule really has a basic concept that if you're engaging with investors,
That's not a Vampire Diary
that
quote,
those
is
investors'
it?
interests come before that of the investment advisor or broker-dealer. And if you're using predictive data analytics to determine how to nudge them or guide them, you should be not putting your interest. Look, in my downtime, I like to watch romantic comedies and watch
Oh my
on
God.
streaming apps. The streaming app figures out that I'm like a rom-com guy, which I am. And they're doing it because they make more money because I watch the streaming app more.
There you go.
all right. But in finance, if you're doing it and you're nudging somebody to trade more and churn up their hard-earned assets, or to nudging them to margin or options trading or higher fees on a robo-advisor, and it's not in their interest, but it's in the investment advisor's interest, therein lies a conflict. That's what we're trying to address.
Thank you. Gentlelady yields back, and the chair now recognizes
Gary
the gentleman
Gensler
from
likes
Texas,
rom-coms and he's
Mr.
allergic
Williams,
to kitty
for
cats.
5
That's what we
minutes.
learned today.
Thank you, Chair. The SEC's recent climate rule proposal was 500 pages of mandatory disclosures that will now require companies to report on emissions data and climate risk management strategies. This proposal is a major concern for business owners back in my district who are worried. I'm a small business owner also about the SEC's recent push to implement costly environmental, social, and political regulatory requirements. They're not even relevant to the company.
So are you saying that that was directed towards me, the rom-com? Listen, I love my rom-coms. I'm a girl. I love rom-coms. I live for rom-coms. But am I going to watch a rom-com with Gary? No. No. Gary gets, oh, I like rom-coms, so my Netflix, like, recommends that to me. Is that for real? Like, did we just hear that? Did we just hear that? Holy freaking...
And on top of that, the Scope 3 emissions disclosure will direct companies to speculate on the emissions output of their suppliers and products, which require substantial information to order to get a proper estimate. So this could lead to smaller businesses being left out due to how difficult it is for them to obtain this complex information. And the SEC crusade is extremely out of touch and exceeds their intended
Guys, do you like
missions and
rom-coms?
statutory
Put a 1 if you like a
authority.
rom-com,
So
put
the
a 2 if
SEC
you
needs
don't,
to
and
stop
send me
their
what
abuse
your
of the
favorite
rulemaking
rom-com
process
is.
before they cause any further damage to the industry. So, Mr. Chairman, what is the average amount of time and resources everyday companies will need to ensure they are properly complying with the excessive climate risk disclosures? And how can mandating
Hi, Crypto
companies
Chef.
to file on
Why
indirect
are we
emissions
talking about the
relating to the
climate
company
for the
provide
freaking
consistent
69th
information
time?
for investors?
Again, and Mr. Boer, sitting behind you, asked a similar question. Let me just put it in context, if I may. Investors today are making investment decisions based on climate risk disclosures. We're trying to bring some comparability. Both you and other members have raised this question about greenhouse gas emissions, so-called Scope 3. And for the listening public, this is of the value chain. It's not about the company itself. It's about their suppliers or their customers. And we got a lot of comment in the public file
Sleepless
about
in
this.
Seattle. I'm going to check that one
Not just from
out.
members of Congress, but from small and medium-sized enterprises in your district and other districts, from farmers and ranchers and the like.
Oh,
We're
gosh.
taking a very close look
Where
at
is
this.
Dan if you're
Our
talking shit about
remit, our
talking
legal
shit about
authority
Dan?
is about public companies. It's about the public companies. And over half of the top 1,000 already making disclosures around their emissions. But we understood even in the proposal that so-called Scope
Yes, here comes the
3
memes. Here
is
comes the
less
memes.
developed, is less used, and we got a lot of feedback, and we're taking that under consideration and looking at it very closely.
Because when you make small businesses smaller because of regulations,
Yeah,
it's
and let
not
me
going to work.
assure you, sir, and I've said this in a Senate hearing 2 weeks ago as well, our remit is just about those public companies. It's not the private companies in your district. My dad had a very small company too. That's not the remit of the SEC.
How many times is Gary going to
The
talk about his
SEC's
freaking
rulemaking
dad and
process
his
is
family?
unprecedented, proposing over 50 rulemakings since the spring of 2021. The SEC has failed to understand the impact of these rules and how they will each affect the industry, as well as the aggregate amount.
When
of
Harry
their
met
impact.
Sally, Love Actually, I'm
It
going
is
to write
crucial
this
that
all
the
down.
SEC conduct cost-benefit analysis and solicit industry feedback of these proposals
I
and
think
what it
Creighton
will
would
cost
know
for
the good
participants that the Commission oversees. I was proud to sign on to a letter led by Chairman McHenry to you, highlighting our concerns with rulemaking agenda and substantial volume. It's vital that the SEC understands the regulatory and financial burdens that they are unjustly placing on market participants, just like we talked about. So, in closing, Chair, has the SEC engaged in any roundtables, field hearings, or investor testing to really solicit feedback before rulemaking?
Again, it was good to read your letter about 8 p.m. last night. It was a good letter. And
Why do you
but in
keep
terms
saying
of your
how he read all
question,
this last night?
We solicit feedback in the formal way through the comment period. We solicit feedback and have hundreds of meetings, sometimes on any one rule with market participants, and then we detail them in the files, and we benefit from that feedback.
Well, thank you. I yield my time back.
Gentleman yields back. The chair now recognizes the gentleman from California, Mr. Vargas.
Please suggest
for 5
rom-coms for me.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I want to thank
I love rom-coms. I've watched
the
too many
chair
of them.
and the ranking member for giving me the opportunity to speak. And I want to say,
Notting
Mr. Chairman,
Hill?
it's good
Okay,
to see you,
Avo.
but I have to say it was even better to see Chairman Lucas. Chairman Lucas was the chairman of the Agriculture
The Big
Committee
Short.
when
I still
first
gotta
came to
watch
Congress
that.
11 years ago. He was eminently fair and a good person to work with. And we have an 1,800-pound bull on our property and on our ranch. And I got to tell you, don't mess with those
They
animals.
got a bull on
Those
the
are
ranch.
big animals. They can do a lot of damage. So
They
it's
got a
great to
bull
see
on the
him here
ranch.
today. Like I said, I think everyone on this
Yeehaw!
for him. But it's great to see you here. You were asked somewhat of a catch-22 question earlier, and
10 Things I Hate About You is a good one.
documents, and within those documents was a letter that was, given to you by this committee. And then in that situation, it's either you disclose that letter is in there, and they say, aha, you disclosed the letter that we sent you, how typical. Or if you didn't, you'd say, boy, you didn't even disclose the letter that we sent him. So you were sort of caught in a catch-22 no matter which way you answered. I'm glad you disclosed the letter. But then you were asked, I think, a very ugly and unfortunate question about a recent senator and your interactions with him because he's been indicted. I think there was an insinuation there that maybe that something that you did was inappropriate or improper. Could you comment on that, please?
Well, I can't comment about a criminal prosecution.
No, not about the criminal prosecution, but the insinuation that you possibly did something that was inappropriate in your conversation with him on the phone.
Oh, no, I mean...
Ooh, Gary under fire.
I didn't discuss anything with the senator in May of 2021, except for his concerns about federal securities laws and disclosure, if I recall. But there might have been other topics that he talked about.
He has no
around,
idea what he's talking about. He's like, how do I
disclosure
cover
around
this up?
diversity by investment advisors.
Yeah, I just wanted to give you an opportunity to say that because, again, I think that was a bit of an unfair question. And so,
In a role like mine, I engage with senators and members of the House of Representatives, and we benefit from those engagements.
yeah, no, I agree. But again, thank you for being here and thank you for answering that question. Now, I take a very different view of climate-related risks, of course, on this side, and I think it is one of the biggest issues that we face as a world and certainly as a country. And the reasonable standard, again, was created by Thurgood Marshall, and that is the reasonable person, the materiality.
10 Things I
what a
Hate About You
reasonable
is
person
good,
want to know.
but
And it seems to
there's a
me
lot
with
of
all the
other good
headlines
ones.
that we have and all the information that we have about climate-related risk, and I could go through a whole bunch of headlines here, which I won't, but it seems to be that this is a gigantic issue, and people want to know. And in
Why?
fact, people
Back
do
to
want to know,
climate.
and companies have been disclosing this for a while. So I think you're on the right track. But you're not a
Hi,
climate
Flavor.
change organization, are you? You're not the cop on the beat for that.
No, we're a securities regulator and disclosure-based regulator, and that's what we're trying to do here is just, as
I've watched Twilight, all of them.
are making decisions today about public companies based on their climate risk disclosures, and it's trying to ensure that it's truthful, it's accurate, it's decision useful.
Yeah, and in fact, this is what people want to know today, isn't it? I mean, any investor today that reads the newspaper, especially if they're invested in...
Watch True Romance. True Romance. Okay, listen, I have a whole list. True. Thank you for the super chat. Oh, wait, hold on. I got to get the sound on. All right, so True Romance. This is what I got on the list. Let me know if I'm missing it. Love Actually, Harry Met Sally, Notting Hill, Big Short, which isn't a rom-com, but True Romance. I have that. I also have, I don't know. I know it's not a rom-com, but I love The Notebook. Always will love young Ryan Gosling. Absolute king. But yeah, like there's a lot of good rom-coms out there. I don't know. I feel like we should ask Gary his suggestions on Twitter. Guys, please tweet at Gary or something. Comment on his post. Ask him what his favorite rom-com is. He watches them all the time. Poor guy. He needs some love. Princess Bride. I've seen Princess Bride. George of the Jungle. Guys, if you think I should stay live, put a yes if you're a member, or put a 1 in the chat. If not, then put a 2 if you think that you're over Gary. Guhan, nice to see you, my Doge friend. Bridesmaids, I watched Bridesmaids, like, what was it, Revenge of the Bridesmaids, whatever. I've watched it. That one was all right. That one was okay, you know. True Romance is not a rom-com, but awesome. Okay, listen, Creighton, if you approve it, I feel like I could maybe slightly trust you a little bit, because I feel like I think you understand, you know. I think you understand maybe like my humor a little bit and what I would be looking for in a rom-com. B-Team, nice to see you. Guys, can we get 2 more likes for 230? Fast and Furious. The Fast and Furious isn't a rom-com. That's not a rom-com. You've Got Mail. I don't know. I'm not a big Tom Hanks gal, but I'll put it on. You've Got Mail. I'll flag it that it's Hanks. I don't trust Tom Hanks. I have a vendetta against Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks, don't sue me, because he's a very powerful man that does some weird stuff. Okay, let's see. Let's check in. Again, let me know if I should stay on, or if you guys are kind of over Gary. Let me see.
Your leadership as the cop on the beat, watching out for our constituents, correct?
Big news.
I think that's a mandate that Congress
Yeah, and I
has
think
given
you've
us.
said that, reclaiming my time. The answer is yes, sir. If you could just comply with what I've asked, I'd appreciate it. But given your 18-year career at one of the biggest banks in the world and the personal financial fortune you amassed there, do you think it's possible for you to serve as an impartial regulator and not favor large financial intermediaries?
Absolutely, sir.
Wow. Mr. Gensler, do you believe the vast majority of digital assets meet the investment contract test and are therefore securities operating illegally outside of the U.S. regulatory umbrella?
As I've said, many of these assets are basically the public is anticipating
Sir, is
profits
that a yes?
based on the efforts of others.
Is the answer then yes?
Again, without prejudging anyone, I do think that the significant
Reclaiming my
majority
time.
are
I'll take it as a
investment
yes.
contracts.
And to be clear, sir, this perspective has nothing to do with a concern you noted in a speech last year where you said, quote, "Over the past year, several bank executives have shared their concerns with me about the sheer number of depositors who have moved money from their bank accounts into crypto-related exchanges and wallets," end quote. Right?
The concern that those bank executives raised was that there's
Again, I'm reclaiming my time,
customers were
sir.
getting
No,
hurt.
I've asked you to answer the questions as short as I can so I can use the time I have, and it's clear that you would like to avoid answering the questions, in my opinion. An Obama-appointed judge in the Southern District of New York, a bank-friendly jurisdiction where you bring most of your cases, recently found that decentralized financial technology, quote, "not only removes the so-called middlemen from these transactions, but it also allows users to interact through a variety of methods in an easy and efficient manner," end quote. The court also said underwriters, like the ones at banks where you work, sir, are, quote, precisely the types of individual roles that decentralized exchanges were designed to eliminate, end quote. Mr. Gensler, can you assure this committee that your style of regulation by harassment towards digital asset innovation is to the benefit of every American and not driven by your desires to protect industry incumbents?
This is a field that's rife with fraud and manipulation, and I'm looking out for the American investors who've been hurt by the crypto.
Yeah. I'll reclaim
fraudsters
my
and
time. Mr.
scammers.
Gensler, despite your years of
Fraudsters.
rhetoric, like today, I'm convinced you are not an impartial regulator. Instead, it's clear that you are working to consolidate your own power, even though it means crushing opportunities for everyday Americans and, frankly, the financial future of this country. Even the federal courts are highlighting the damage you, sir, are doing to our constituents, and they're telling you that you don't have the legal authority to accomplish your goal of squashing competition in the financial markets. Congress has been telling you that too. Now, Mr. Gensler, I believe our great financial system is the definition of freedom in this country. And congressional policies must provide room for the traditional financial system to evolve alongside the disruptive digital asset ecosystem. That said, it cannot be understated that a common theme throughout your career, sir, is your relentless loyalty to the largest financial institutions at the clear expense of innovation, competition, and everyday Americans. I yield back.
I suspect some large financial institutions
There's-
would not agree with that.
There's no question, sir. I've yielded back my time.
Gentleman yields back. Gentleman from New Jersey, Mr. Gottheimer, is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chairman Gensler, Shana Tova. It's good to see you.
Shana Tova, may this year bring you health and happiness.
No
You
way.
too, sir. If I can begin, in your testimony, you said that it generally takes 12 to 24 months for the SEC to proceed from issuing a new rule proposal to adopting it as a final rule. That may seem like a long time, but I assure you, as it's not a very long time for some of the smaller stakeholders that I speak to, who are spending so much of their time and resources and running their business and trying to compete. And of course, you know, I'm getting concerned, and I wanted to get your thoughts on this as well. Are you worried at all that all these rules are putting smaller and medium-sized businesses at a disadvantage and better handle the deluge of all the proposals? So
that was so savage. Tom Emmer is like the most savage guy that was a part of this whole shebang. That was a whole part of this shebangy boo. This, that. That is what we need. Someone that's going to tell Gary what the actual is up. Someone needs to do it because this is so ridiculous. My mind is going kaplooey. Absolutely kaplooey. That we haven't gotten one single answer from Gary. Not one. He won't even say Bitcoin is a commodity. He said, oh, you know, Bitcoin just doesn't go, it doesn't, the Howey test, it just doesn't align. So I guess it's all good. Gary! Answer a question. Tom Emmer, mic dropped on him because Gary's like, oh, I'm going to go ramble. What? Gary. He said there's hucksters.
Hucksters, fraudsters, scam artists, Ponzi schemes.
Oh, gosh, man. This is absolutely wild.
Keep engaging with us. And certainly if there's, not a shutdown, we're here.
Oh, gosh, the shutdown, boopity-doo. Like, what? Are you kidding me? This whole hearing has been bull. I do not stand for it. What we need to do now is go watch a rom-com and go, I guess, hang with the kitty cat, since that's what Gary's allergic to. That's what we learned today. The only answer we got, something that wasn't even asked. Gary Gensler's allergic to kitty cats. And he likes rom-coms. And that's what Netflix will suggest to him when he goes on the streaming service. So that's yeah. Crazy Stupid Love. Oh, yeah, I love that movie. Oh, Gosling plays you, an all-time classic. Oh, gosh, come on. Oh, so Say Anything? Is that a different one? Say Anything? Crazy Stupid Love was good. That I will say is a good one. Dude, guys, if you're here, please say hello to me. Can you guys send me love? I need love.
Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you. You're welcome.
I'm honor of Cake Wallet being a sponsor. Can you talk about XMR?
Yes, guys, please check out Cake Wallet as well as Market Cipher, our lovely sponsors in the chat. What would you like me to say about Monero, my friend? I think Monero is something that, of course, gives us the other side where Bitcoin is completely transparent, Monero is completely private. And again, it goes without saying that not everyone is a criminal. And everybody deserves privacy. And they try to skew it like Monero is for criminals when it's not. I think a lot of people, again, of course, people could use the technology for bad things, just like the banks use cash, and just like, Robert Menendez, which was a senator, literally was accepting bribes in cash and gold, and that wasn't traceable, but it was private. So again, there are criminals within our own government that are accepting bribes with private currency. So again, we all need privacy, not just, the everyday person needs privacy. So of course, there's people that are going to use the technology and even use our fiat system now for bad and for good. It's up to us how we use it, right? So I think Monero is something, of course, people are going to use, people are going to flock to once the bank shut down. So thank you for the $5 super chat. I appreciate it. If you want, I could take a quick gander at Monero price, since Bitcoin is doing all right. She's pamping a little bit. I could look at Monero price if you want for me to do a quick little rundown on that. I don't like that. Why did I do that? Wow. Where are some exchanges that I could find this on? Huh? Guys, send me an exchange that I could look at this on, because I'm not seeing the right stuff here on TradingView. At least I don't think so. Jessica, nice to see you. The clown is not going to mix with the cats. No. Flavor, bringing the zest. Always. Chill, nice to see you. Thomas Bryant, hey girl, what's up? You said hey girl to me. You know, I like that. Hey girl, what's up? Nice to see you, Thomas. What about Litecoin and AMP? Litecoin is awesome. It is the best evers. AMP, I can't really say too much about AMP. If you guys look at, so you said Binance has it? Is this right? Yes. Okay, yeah. So let's look at Creighton. I see his comment. It's distracting me. Monero, $144.98, up 0.32%. So it seems like Monero, again, had a volatile day today. Sheesh. Right below their 200-day SMA, $153. So hopefully, again, we pamp up. It's really not that far. We're pretty much staying stable on this 137 level, which seems to be the resistance here. Or maybe even the support. I could say support. Or maybe this is even the support here, 133. Ooh, it seems like 133, 135 is the support. So we could go either way with Monero. We could break out too, and then the next target, of course, would be probably 169, which is a zesty number, or 186. So Monero is pretty sideways, but having some action, which is nice. We like to see that for her. Thank you, Mr. Yeehaw, for that. I see Antonio's coming.
Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you. You're welcome.
As a criminal, XMR is 100% for criminals. Also, young lady, cool it with the language.
Sorry, Antonio. I get riled up, but that's why I bleep. That's why I go. So that way I spare. And it becomes a family show, you know? No cussing here, only bleeps. CoinGecko. All right, I got it. I got it now. I got it now. David Lee, what's up? Nice to see y'all. It's the Jersey in her. Yeah, I guess it is. Listen, even Brooklyn's worse. Oh my gosh. Zesty number. It is a zesty number. I'm serious. Hi, Carrie. It's nice to see you. But yeah, I know I was talking about Litecoin and AMP. Litecoin is awesome. AMP is all right. I used to love the speed in app, but they haven't updated it in a long time, so I don't know how that's going. And yeah, I was doing something. I was doing an undercover item with Litecoin and them, but it just never came out. There were some things that came out, but it just wasn't the thing I was a part of. Anyway, she's a New York Italian. If she didn't swear, I would get worried. Dude, you hadn't, no, yeah. You would be worried. You would be worried. I would agree with that. That's the best thing you said today. I like the bleeps. So do I. That's so funny. I love the bleep. Bleep. I feel like I'm in a reality show. Like, what is going on? Bleep. 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 Crypto Crabman is in the chat. Monero, not just for criminals. Antonio was joking. Atari, great stream. Thank you. I appreciate that. Listen, guys, we had a fantabulous stream. I'm going to check in one more time here.
We're going to continue to working with you.
What is your plan? Because we've got a plan. The chairman outlined the plan. And it begins with a P and ends in oxy, and it's not a real fun word that any of us want to fulfill.
Again, we're continuing to work and trying to get you documents on a regular basis.
But you are not.
Ooh.
You are giving us publicly available documents. That is not the role of oversight. So, okay, so are you open to legislation that would clarify that the SEC is not required to have a full commission vote to comply with the requests for Congress or in Congress or this committee?
Again, I'd have to have staff look at the legislation. We'd give technical assistance as we give it on other provisions.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we don't need your technical assistance because so far the technical assistance has gotten us nothing.
Oh, burn.
Well, I enthusiastically
Guys, put burn
support
in
the
the chat.
chair's
Fire emoji.
discussion of using compulsory process. And it's shameful that you're hiding behind this 24C process and that the commission is. And we are going to have to remedy that, apparently, based on your lack of cooperation. One last quick question. Did you ever receive a memorandum or agency document in writing assessing the Supreme Court's decision on West Virginia versus EPA on the SEC's rulemaking authority?
I know that we've had discussions. I don't remember any memo. I've read. The,
I'm going to ask you to
I've read the
follow up. My
actual-
time has
I've read the
expired.
Supreme Court
Gentleman's time's
opinion.
expired.
We're gonna have you follow up in writing with that, Mr. Chairman.
Need a
and yield back.
Kelso emoji like from that 70s show?
Gentleman from Illinois, Mr. Casson, is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Nice to see you again, Secretary.
gosh.
I want to talk about your climate disclosure rule. I know that surprises you that I want to talk about that. And I realize that with it coming out soon.
No climate. I'm over you. Sorry. I'm sorry. Please, guys, send a heart in the chat. I need love. One more. Another one.
Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Yeah! Yeah!
Thank you, LA Knight. Thank you. Thank you, Pauly D. Yeah.
Yeah!
Guys, it's going to be okay. I am absolutely over everything that happened today. Gary Gensler, he's the huckster, he's the fraudster, he's the scam artist, he's the Ponzi scheme.
Hucksters, fraudsters, scam artists, Ponzi schemes.
John Legend said if it wasn't for me, they wouldn't watch the SEC. They make me angry and give you a headache. I have a headache too. I am upset. I feel like I should be questioning Gary. Why, Gary? Why? And you know, he'll just be like, I saw that on a rom-com this one time. This person wanted to give them love, the other person, and then the other person expected too much love from the first person. So then that was a security. And now everything that people love, I don't love. And that includes that dirty Bitcoins and the Ethereums.
Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you. You're welcome.
A fake rose. Is that what I need in this time? This is my time of emotional need and distress. And a fake rose comes through. LA Knight to be seen as tag partner. Listen, that would be fun. That would be fun, Matt. That would be fun. Go buy Emma pizza. Maybe I will. Maybe I will if she's nice to me. But yeah, I'll get Emma pizza. I feed Emma a lot of food. Just so you guys know. I feed Emma a lot of food. Girl is full. Next, we need a farm to give her fresh berries. But listen, guys, this is an absolute mess. An absolute sheesh show. No questions were answered. Gary Gensler is desperate for love, is what we learned today, because he likes rom-coms. He also probably has 5 cats in his house because he had, little kitty cat issues. He probably doesn't. He probably, he has cats. He's allergic to cats. He probably has a few running around the house just to give him a little torture, just so he could feel something. You know what I mean? Is it all over? The hearing? No, I just can't believe what's going on. It's like killing my vibe.
To report greenhouse gas emissions and for the...
Oh gosh, they're still talking gas emissions and climate and things that literally do not matter right now. So at least we saw Tom Emmer. At least we saw him give Gary the freaking sheesh. Guys, we have 236 likes. Can we get 250? Is that possible? Purr. Yeah, we need a little purr. I can't roll my tongue, so I can't do that. Maybe Emma could do it. I have to ask Emma if she could do it. So nauseous, thanks to Gary Gensler. Gotta eat lunch. Listen, man, I gotta eat some lunch too. Now that I have some pizza funds, maybe I'll go out and get some pizza. I know Emma's been craving some chicken wang, so I don't know. It's really up to Emma if we do pizza or if we do chicken wang. I'm personally craving some chicken wang. But Emma, it's up to Emma, essentially, because she's the one that has... The pizza fund was basically sent to her. I don't know.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Creighton.
You're welcome. Thank you. You're welcome.
Not sure why, but you and that dress belong on the Italian Riviera. Nice little village, good food, better wine. Really good bread and cheese.
That was a sprinkle of love right there. Look. Does this give you guys, please write in the chat if you agree with Creighton. Thank you for the $10 super chat. But this does have pockets. Creighton, it has pockets. It has pockets. I love this one. This is what I wore, like, you know, I don't know. I just really like this one. It has like 3/4 sleeves. I feel like I'm getting a little bit of a hug. I like the, like, you know, the cut. I like the way it feels. Again, pockets, 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 pockets. I don't know. I very much enjoy this. I very much enjoy this one. Is this like, you know, yesterday people were saying like House on the Prairie vibes. Today I'm on like, you know, I'm in Italy, Italia, going to my home, the motherland. You like the red dress? I know you guys like red dresses. Listen, I need to get more red dresses. Red is my thing. Red is my thing. I would wear green, but I have a green screen. And then you won't see me. And then you'll just see my head floating around. You'll just see my head floating around. Is Paris show on? I believe it was just New York Fashion Week. I think Paris Fashion Week is happening. I personally, I don't know. I'm not a part of any of those, so I don't really know. But yeah, that's the vibe. But yeah, I love this dress to my heart's content. It's very, very comfortable. Very comfortable. That twirl's gonna get me 50 more fiancés. Oh gosh, semi-open back. It's not that open. It's just like a little bit, like just off the shoulder, just a little bit. It's not that crazy. It's kind of even, you know, with the front a little bit, maybe a little bit higher. But you can see a hat with the dress, like one of those like how those women wear them to the Kentucky Derby. Is that the vibe you're going for? I want to go to the Kentucky Derby. I want to dress up for that. I want to get dressed up for that. I want to go to the Kentucky Derby. I want to go and woohoo, yeehaw, horses, woohoo. That's what I want to do. That would be beautiful. Fresh, summery, perfect with a glass of wine in hand. Listen, maybe I'll have my glass of wine with you guys when I turn 21. You know, we do a whole winey stream, a whole vino stream. Proof of pockets consensus is the next big thing, absolutely. Listen, guys, I know we have a long day ahead. I got stuff to do. You guys have stuff to do. I don't think they're talking about crypto anymore.
Would encourage you to please read it because I think it explains the...
Yeah, they're not talking about crypto anymore. So we got all the information we could. Probably once we end it, they will talk crypto again, but it's just our luck. I appreciate you guys so very much for joining me today. This was an absolute great stream. I had a blast with you guys. I know we have 238 more likes, 238 likes. Can we get 12 more for 250? Bring the fam down and we'll go to the Kentucky Derby. You're lying to me. You're lying to me. Hi, Funk. Nice to see you. Guys, thank you guys so much for joining me. David Lee, if you worked at an Italian bakery, I hope they made strawberry shortcake, just fresh strawberries, none of that like gooey stuff, you know. Thank you, Rusty Bot. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I know I want to be respectful of your time. We've been here for 2.5 hours. I love this stream so much. And guys, comment down below if you want to fire Gary Gensler, how you feel about Gary Gensler, if you feel like everything is just crumbling in Gary Gensler's field. And when crypto comes to light, when Bitcoin comes to light, things will get crazy. Things will get crazy. Have a great day. Smash these likes, share the stream out with friends, comment down below. Have a great day, and